Is there a problem, officer? I'm traveling. 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 Is there a problem?
Hello everyone, how are you doing? And welcome to another Sovereign Citizen Watch! I hope you're ready for some more traffic stops, weird courtroom stuff, and whatever else we decide to go on tangents about. I hope your week's going well so far. I had electrolysis today. It went great, ever since I've been on my meds. My pain tolerance has been so much higher. It's been really interesting, so I get so much done. We're on a hype train. Let me see what I missed. Meru-sama, thanks for 39 months, says 39 months. I've got nothing to say except yay. Ooh, rhyme. First name Bunch of Numbers says, I love these Overthought remixes so much, and I love watching Gina groove to them. I know, they're great. Overthoughts is excellent. Broha Blast, thanks for 25 months. Nemesaur Colboth, thanks for your tier 1 sub. Dave, thanks for 13 months, says, I think I signed up my second or third week of following you, Hannah. Oh, well thank you, I appreciate it. I'm glad that you've liked it enough that you've continued to watch and you've continued to subscribe. Thank you. First name Bunch of Numbers, thank you for gifting a sub. Dave with 300 and then another 300. Nemesaur with 10 tier 1 subs because Nemesaur's crazy. As always, Ashy Boo says, we got a new kitty. His name is Pudding, because when he lays down, he looks like a dollop of pudding. Aw, that's cute. He looks like a dollop of pudding. He's very sweet black lap cat, and he weighs about 15 pounds. That is so sweet. Congrats on the new kitty. Auntie Pretzel says, hey Hannah, my first day went well. Just have to talk to my manager about getting my time card fixed. They have to get me in the system proper, and that apparently failed insert the weekend due to an outage. Hopefully this makes me a better person. Hope you, Baha, and your furry children are having a good day. I know you mean cats, but furry children just makes it sound like I have children that are furries, which would be fine. That would be fine. They would be accepted in my house. Bumble Homestead, thanks for 100 bits, says, science is so wild, the brain focuses meds make your nerves work differently too. I know, it's weird. It's weird. Bittergrin, thanks for 100 bits. Chatter, my furry children. I guess that's true. That's true. Well, 36% to level 5. We have some interesting stuff to take a look at today. I think I told you guys before, but Marcel has a new significant other. We're not going to cover that necessarily. It's just interesting. Hope he's doing well, though I am very concerned for his partner. We have a person who tries to arrest a judge in the courtroom. The state of Teaos returns to get more in-depth information upon their state and how it'll free you from the tyranny of Child Protective Services. And I did say Child Protective Services, even though it's in Canada, and it's called a different thing there. The guy in the video calls it CPS too, so. And then what else? What else? Oh, the first thing in the title, Confederate guy. Remember the Sovereign Citizen guy who's always filming in his basement at a weird angle? and he's like a Confederate lost cause revisionist asshole who thinks the Civil War wasn't about slavery. He finally got pulled over, and he uploaded it to YouTube, so that's fun. And we'll watch that, and then he did a follow-up video talking about it, which I assume will distort what actually happened, so that'll be fun to compare between what actually happened and then what he says happened. So, anything else? I think that's it. We had a good patron-only stream yesterday. That was fun. Played Jackbox games, then chat judged a game of Cards Against Humanity between myself and my wife, Baha. I am going to get for future patron-only streams where we do games, I am going to figure out the online Cards Against Humanity thing so we can play together. Next Sunday's patron-only stream will just be like watching videos and stuff, just different stuff, only for the patrons. Streams are a little more casual, smaller audience, so I'm less like, I'm in stream mode and more just like, we're hanging out, you know? We're hanging out. We do that kind of already, but you know, there's a lot of people here, so it kind of has to... Who won? I won. It was actually really close. Baha was ahead, 30 seconds left on the hype train. Baha was ahead, and then I was able to catch up, and then we got tied 9-9, because we were playing to 10 cards, and I got it. I got it. Just barely. She's very funny. I'm just slightly funnier. No, but it was a fun time. So yeah. Let's get into it. Bumble Homestead, thanks for gifting a sub. What shall we do first? Why not? Let's start with the title video. Sometimes, you know, in YouTube or any kind of live show, what you want to do is, in the title, you lead with your strongest video, or what you think is the most catching, and then you put that at the end of the show so people have to sit through it. Today, let's not do that. Let's just be nice and let's start with the title video. Because I'm interested. I haven't seen this. I don't know what happens. But based on how he acts in his basement, I cannot imagine how he acts during a traffic stop is going to be acceptable. So let's take a look. Wait, this is the first one, right? Yep, cool. Did he just whistle the ba-da-ba-ba-ba because a McDonald's song was on the radio?
Hello. How's it going? I'm Deputy Teaos, Tompkins County Sheriff's Office.
Turn off your radio.
Speed? Yes, sir. Right before 65, I was slowing down. You're going 70 in the 65.
This is what I find interesting. If he truly believes that the laws don't apply to him in the way that he's going to claim, why is he even arguing his speed? Why is he being like, no, I was slowing down? Like, I assume, based on what he said previously, he's like, no, I can do whatever I want, blah, 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 blah. Why are you even arguing, then? What are you doing? Like, well, you clearly don't believe the things that you've said. Also, nice hat.
That 65 sign? But I was slowing down as I was... slow down before you enter into the 65 zone. That sign indicates that the zone that you're about to enter is a 65 mile.
That is true. You're supposed to be at the speed by the sign. Once you hit the sign, you're supposed to be at the lower speed. On the other hand, if you're about to hit a sign that goes faster, you can't start until you get to it.
You're going 70 in a 65 mile an hour zone. But I was slowing down, sir. Still speeding, okay? Before I pulled you over, whoever was inside the vehicle was going to get a written warning, okay? So, you're still going to get a written warning because I told you you're going to get you're detained right now. According to Texas Penal Code 3802, I must be under arrest. You have to have a driver's license. To ID. Yes, sir. You have to have a driver's license in order to operate a motor vehicle on the roadway. Well, I have a license, now, but in order for me to hand you my identification, I have to be placed under arrest.
No, in a traffic stop that you have to provide your identification. That's not how this works.
and according to Texas Penal Code 3802.
Sir, it's a traffic stop.
Well, I understand that. It's a detention, but it's not an arrest.
Are you...
What does he think driver's licenses are for? Like, does he think, oh, this is the card I use to buy alcohol? No, that's the card you're supposed to have so that, like, if you're stopped and you're driving, they can tell that you have a license. It's a driver's license? That's what it's for. What do you think it's for?
Are you informed that a detention is a form of arrest?
Stone Corbell, thanks for 38 months.
Well, if it's a form of arrest, then I should be under
You're
arrest.
detained right now. You have your driver's license? You possess a Texas driver's license?
Yes.
Okay, may I see it, please?
You can see it.
You can't have it, but you can see it. Driver's licenses, I believe, are considered state property anyway. So you don't own your driver's license, the state does. Raven with 100 bits says, you recently uploaded a video of YouTube of PP about Bed Bath & Beyond, and he reads off a username to credit them with some DD. The username was, we're everywhere. In case you weren't aware, U slash is a dog whistle meme that 4chan Nazis use. Shocker, a lot of these crypto people are also white supremacists, and PP is listening to them for not financial advice. In the future, if you see that U slash, just know that they're probably Nazis. Is U slash... Yeah, Reddit names are U slash as well. But is U slash like a sub thing in 4chan? Yeah. I think you might be... I've never heard that as a dog whistle thing, but I've definitely seen it as a Reddit thing. So I would have to look into it. Anyway.
I have my driver.
Oh, but I should say there is a financial forum on 4chan where they sometimes do talk about the PP show and make fun of it. Because even people on 4chan know that the PP show is hilarious.
Driver's license right here.
Can I have it so that I can put all the required information in there to issue?
Redditors are just Nazis. Reddit's gotten, you can tell it's gotten so much, it's already been, you know, shit like all social media, but both Twitter and Reddit have gotten so fucking bad recently in terms of, like, the content it promotes, and, like, it's, the quality of the content has hit the floor. It's crazy.
I would, but under Texas Penal Code, I have to be under arrest.
And to be clear, I'm talking about, like, the big communities or the things that are on the front page of Reddit. Of course, like any place where you can host any kind of forum, there are ones that I like. I'm not going to say them because I don't want them to get ruined. But there are small, you know, groups on there that are fine.
First, because I watched it when San Angelo had went to Walmart.
Is your registration up to date?
And a guy...
on your vehicle?
I can't believe we're everywhere as a crypto-fascist dog whistle. There it is. Shank ya.
You don't have a registration sticker insignia. You have to have it posted.
Well, I found out from my uncle that Texas has gotten rid of inspections and...
You heard from your uncle? Is your uncle the law?
So, you not want to give me your...
It's not that I don't want to, it's that by law, Texas Penal Code 3802, I do not have to.
I mean, that's kind of a weird statement, because even if you didn't have to, you could if you wanted to, but you can't. So, like, you do not want to. And legally, you do have to, but you clearly don't want to. Right? That's a weird statement to make. You gonna pretend you want to? My hands are tied, officer. I would. But the law doesn't say you can't give it to them. It doesn't even say what you think it says. You do have to give it to them. It's just funny that you've interpreted, even within your fake interpretation, you've interpreted your fake interpretation wrong. Even within what you said, it wouldn't prevent you from giving a license. So clearly you don't want to. Thanks for geology. Ugh. These songs are gonna have to get muted on YouTube. Turn your radio off, you fool.
And I'm being peaceful and I'm trying to go do my thing.
I never said that I was going to get violent.
Because if I don't do what you want, you will get violent. You will act like a sociopath.
No, sir, I'm not violent. You're insinuating that I am violent, which
No, sir, I'm not insinuating because you're calling for backup. And 18 U.S. Code 241 and 242.
Right now, I stopped you for speeding and your registration's expired. So you're not willing to provide me with your
Well, if my registration is expired, I am no longer under contract.
Okay?
That's not how that works. You need to have your car registered in order to drive it on public roadways anywhere in the United States. If your registration expires, it's not a contract expiring, it's your registration expiring, and it would be illegal to drive your car on the public roadways without a registration that's up to date. You don't get to opt out of society if you're living in society. That's not how it works. Oh, thanks, Ivana Be Spanked. Bumble Homestead with a link says, Texas is getting rid of inspections in 2025. Oh, so he is stupid and misheard. That's funny. It's not 2025 yet.
With y'all, if my inspection is expired, I'm no longer in contract.
Give me your driver's license.
I would,
Say yes.
I would, but I do not have to under 38.
Unless you're under arrest.
02. I have, yes, but if you make an arrest on something that is a secondary offense after being arrested,
There's only three things I cannot arrest for in the state of Texas. Speeding, texting and driving, and open container, okay? I cannot arrest for any of those. But I can arrest for expired registration, because you're operating a motor vehicle on the roadway in Texas without valid registration.
yes, and both the U.S. Supreme Court and the lower courts, even of Texas, have said that no one needs a license, registration, and all that to be able to drive upon the highways and the roads.
No, you're incorrect. No, it's been affirmed by every court ever in the United States that you need a driver's license to drive a car on public roadways. MH Darkbeast says, Howdy, Hannah. Hope you're doing well today. Did you not do the patron show yesterday? Also, it's crazy conspiracy. Wait, no, I did do the patron-only show yesterday. Did it get taken down or something? I'll check it and see if I need to remove anything. But we just played, like, Jackbox games, so I can't imagine what would have gotten, like, copyrighted or anything. News from Cloud Cuckoo Land. The Maui fire was announced via Mountain Dew. Wait, what? My brother in Christ, blank, pointed this out and it spun on. What happened in Maui is by no means an accident. This Mountain Dew, direct energy weapons. Maui burst flavor is definitely not just a mere coincidence either. Remember, this is exactly how witchcraft and the occult works. They must show and tell you exactly what they are going to do before they do it. I would suggest anyone who has money to put into companies that might end up producing ducking stools, invest wisely, because I feel like witch trials are going to be coming back. At least in select places in the country. Oh, boy.
I don't even...
That is a fact. That they had just ruled on it this year.
What is your first name, sir? My name is Deputy
Hydrate.
Stephen Diaz with the Tom
Oh,
Green
you can
County,
call me good citizen, sir.
with the Tom Green County Sheriff's Office. My badge
Ooh, call me good citizen.
number is 8858. Okay, I know you didn't ask for it, but I'm sure.
And I am getting hot. Can I run my truck to have AC?
What's that? No, sir. Do not.
Because I'm getting hot, and now I'm being
If you open your window, that might help.
tortured. I'm not going to run. I have no reason to run, sir.
Now, why not give me your insurance and you don't have registration on your vehicle?
Because I don't have to show you my papers if I am not under arrest. We're not in Germany.
Next hydrate, you might want to get a can of Maui Blast. Why? I have Baja downstairs.
Germany, sir. We you know, it's not a show me your papers so that way we can.
I'm trying to be as polite to you as possible.
And I'm being polite too. I'm not getting loud. I'm not hollering. I'm no threat to anyone. But I have someone here with the force of a gun and all kinds of.
I mean, if that's a concern of yours, Texas is a bad choice. Like, if you have a serious phobia of people who are armed talking to you, do not move to Texas. What are you doing?
Other stuff that there's nothing in the U.S. Constitution that gives the state
right now
that gives the state authority over me.
What? The state has authority over you. Otherwise, why did you stop when their lights turned on? Kind of de facto, you're saying like, oh, those lights mean those are the police. I need to pull over. So you did that and you're talking to them and you're not leaving. So on some level you understand that they have authority over you, otherwise why would you have done that?
Right now your registration's expired, okay? You're under arrest at this point now, okay? You're under arrest. If you do not cooperate with me, you are going to catch other charges, okay? You're going to catch resisting arrest. You're under arrest at this point. Yes, are you under arrest for, okay, for operating a vehicle?
He got what he wanted.
Registration, okay?
He said, I need to be under arrest for you to see my ID.
We're way past that. You can either step out of the vehicle willingly, or I will pull you out by force.
See, you want to get violent, so I'll get out. Let me undo it. I'll get out. I'll get out. See, you're getting mean. No, sir.
Okay, please.
And he stopped the camera, of course. So this is his follow-up video talking about what happened, I guess, or what he thinks happened.
In the state of Texas, by state law, we are allowed to go 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. Well,
you're allowed to go 5 miles over the speed limit?
The cop.
Then why is that the limit? Like, cops might not bother pulling you over for like 5 over, cause like, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's legal. Like, what is that? I'm sure like you have leeway a little bit either way, because no one's gonna be exact, you know, unless you cruise control it. Like, but like, you know, you can't just speed. Also, he was going 10 over. I didn't even hear that part. Well, 5 times 2 is 10, and he just gets double the rights, so.
Or the sheriff unlawfully pulled me over for doing what I can legally do in the state of Texas. And they detained me falsely under that false pullover and detainment. And then, because I wouldn't hand over my driver's license so he can run it for warrants. Everything else is an excuse now.
I mean, is that an issue you have often? Like, one of the reasons for driver's licenses is to identify you, and if you do have warrants, yeah, it's gonna come up. Because, like, that's how, yeah. Yep, that's part of it. I just don't think that's a problem for the vast majority of people, because most people don't have open warrants for their arrest. Generally.
And so he retaliated and arrested me for speeding. And
he literally told you he cannot arrest you for speeding. He arrested you because you refused to comply with the traffic stop. Not because of the speeding. We saw it happen.
And not having a registration on my truck. And he put in there having a valid an invalid registration. But I had no registration on my truck, so he had.
Right, but at some point you did, and it expired. So your registration, which still exists, wasn't up to date because you didn't pay for it to be up to date, so it was invalid. But you're still in the system if you ever had that registration and you're driving that car around.
had no idea that it was invalid.
You didn't re-up it. So yeah, once it's expired, it's no longer valid.
Because there's no registration. You know, I don't have one.
No, but I took the sticker off my car, so it's gone, right? That doesn't count.
Vehicle, so but he falsely pulled me over.
What's up with his walls? Looks like a basement. Looks like they put up drywall, but never, like, painted it.
For doing something I had a legal right to do in the state of Texas, so everything should be thrown out of court. Everything was done under false pretenses. Everything after that, the 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. We're allowed that in the state of Texas.
You weren't going 5 over, though. You filmed it and uploaded it to the internet.
So after I prove my case in court, you know, and I get everything dismissed and everything, I'm filing a complaint, and I'm suing the sheriff. And I'm gonna see if I can sue his supervisor.
This is like next level Karening. I don't want to talk to your supervisor. I'm gonna sue your supervisor. Wow, that's like a jump. That's like a next level. That's like when they figured out there's higher levels to Super Saiyan.
Because that's where he gets all his orders. That's where, you know, to pull people over if we're doing something that we have a legal right to do in the state of Texas. So, and plus I was slowing down. My foot was up off the gas, slowing.
It doesn't matter. He again, the police officer explained this in the interaction. This is something that you probably learned in traffic school or wherever. You should know this. It's a law. Like when you see a sign, let's say you're going 60 and the sign says 45, you need to be going 45 the second your car is past the threshold of that sign. You need to have already slowed down because that's the beginning of the speed zone. It's not the start to decelerate here sign. It's the this is the speed you need to be by this sign.
Down. And because I hit that speed limit sign, it says 65 at 70, 5 miles an hour over, he pulled me over.
But you were going 75 though, right? Jules Kurzler, thank you for 20 months. And also, I don't necessarily think that's a law in Texas, but I really don't know. Texas is a weird place with weird shit going on, so who knows?
And I have it in writing. He gave me a warning for speeding. And so...
That's also something my dad said, though. My dad's pretty fucking dumb, so...
He falsely pulled me over and falsely detained me for not breaking a traffic rule or law. But it's a rule. It's an ordinance. It's an edict. It's a policy. It's not a law.
It is. It's not necessarily criminal, but it is a law.
Regulation, or else regulations, rules,
It's a traffic law.
Policies, or ordinances, edicts, all that would not exist. It would just plainly state law.
It's all law. It's legislature. What do you think legislating is? Oh my god. I see this come up time and time again, and I've mentioned it. It's like these people don't understand that, okay, colloquially we call things that are illegal crime. Generally, because that's, in most of our daily lives, that's the kind of thing that concerns us, is crime, you know? But that's not all laws. Not all laws are criminal in nature. There are civil offenses, there are traffic offenses, right? So just because something is not technically, literally criminal, doesn't mean it isn't illegal. It just means it's illegal in a different category. Mimt says, can't do Sovereign Citizen Days because they're too stressful, but enjoy the bits before I go. Oh, thank you, and I'm sorry it's stressful.
This is a law. That's it. A law. Like the laws in the Bill of Rights. A law.
You mean like the 10th Amendment that says the states have the right to make laws that aren't already reserved by the federal government, like traffic laws and speeding laws? That one?
And the amendments to the Constitution, 11 through 27. Law. All law. Traffic laws.
You just said laws. You just said traffic laws. You just said traffic laws, so they're laws. You know they're laws.
Do not trump the laws of the Constitution.
They don't trump them. They're not in conflict. They're not in conflict with one another, so there is no... You don't even need to talk about which supersedes which in this instance. They work together. The states have the right to regulate these things, and do. You did not miss the Teaos thing, no. Fear not.
And people don't want to understand that. These trolls.
Yes, we did follow the Daryl Brooks trial. It was interesting. It was very, very interesting.
They're stupid, and they want to stay.
It's a shame that that judge turned out to be kind of shitty afterward, because she was a good judge. Like, she was really good in that trial at dealing with Daryl, but, like, damn. I think she tried to run for, like, the Wisconsin Supreme Court as, like, a right-wing individual. It's a shame.
Stupid. The Constitution is above traffic laws. And in the Constitution...
They're not in conflict.
I have a right to do what I was doing. They have no jurisdiction over me. There is no...
They do, though. You're on the roads.
...law that says I am required and or obligated to obey the laws of the state.
You basically just said, show me the law that says breaking the law is illegal. Where does it say that your laws matter? Isn't that kind of implicit, like, in the fact that they have the power to legislate and enforce that, right? I feel like it's completely fair to take things back to first assumptions and be like, hey, is the way we're thinking about this good? But I think in this particular case, you're maybe just, it feels like you're playing rhetorical masturbation? Like, you're just trying to come up with some, like, way you can, like, use language to subvert reality? Even if you, let's say there was a law just for this guy that said, like, we have authority over you. He would just go, well, who says that law applies to me? Like, it doesn't matter. You just don't think authority should apply to you in any way, shape, or form. Just say that. Just say that. Don't act like you have some, like, intellectual reason for it. You're just an asshole. Overthought says, if you offered a sophist $1,000 to name the 10th Amendment, your money would be safe. Probably true. Probably true.
They have to prove I have to obey the laws of the state. That there's a law right there that says the Texas residents, or the residents in Texas, must obey the laws of the state of Texas.
Where does it say in the laws of Texas that we need to follow the laws of Texas? In the law! The law says it! The law says that, sir! In it! It's like, hey, here are the things you can't do. Don't do these things. It's a whole book. How do you even argue against that? Like, it's like the mentality of, like, a child, like not even like someone who's 8, like someone who's 5 or even maybe 4. Like, you're just, no. You've come to the conclusion, no authority ever, and I will ask why, just to make it so I don't have to listen to the answer.
There is no law.
There is no law that says the law is legal.
So, I will be suing these. I am going to court this time.
I'm sure you are. You did get arrested, so that makes sense.
Because I was falsely pulled over for doing what I am legally allowed to do in the state of Texas. So, all y'all got nothing. This time, everything before this that I didn't take care of, to now, which is all put together, it will be all thrown out. Because I'll be going to court on all of it at once. And anything that's
That's not... You think you're gonna go there and clear up any and all warrants also, I'm assuming, is what he's saying? I think he's trying to say, like, well, now I have an opportunity to go to court anyway and get rid of all my warrants, because I guess he has some, maybe?
A mistake on the sheriff's part gets everything thrown out. I don't have to obey traffic laws. Traffic laws do not supersede the U.S. Constitution.
Remember in the Constitution when it says, by the way, no speeding laws for cars that we know are gonna exist, by the way.
Federal U.S. Constitution. And all states are federal states. They belong to the federal government. Without the states to be united together to be of the government, that's how the government's there. So all the states are United States government. All the states united together to create the government.
Oh, God. He's making me feel like I'm having a stroke, a little bit. Like, that was up there with the U.S. Americans don't have maps level of conversation. I want to see his court appearance so badly.
It's all federal. There is no local. It's a lie. It's all federal. The governors work for the federal government.
They do not.
They can't work in both capacities. They can only work local or federal. And they're working both. And that's unlawful. That's illegal for them to do that. And they're working in both capacities. And so is the sheriff. They're working in both capacities. They're not working in one. Local county. They're doing federal work. They work for the state.
What do you even mean federal work?
That is the nation state. That is Washington, D.C. That's who they work for. They don't...
Washington, D.C. isn't a nation state.
Work for
Like, it's not a state either. It's just like its own thing.
The people. They don't work for the American people. They work for the U.S. government. They don't work for us. Or they wouldn't be able to do what they're doing. We would tell them to go fuck off. You work for me. I'm your boss. Go do...
Not on an individual level. Collectively, sure. But no, as an individual, you can't tell... you can't tell the entire government to fuck off. That's not how it works.
Your job. You can't go to your boss and whatever and do what you want. Or do what you want in your boss's business that you can't do. You'll get in trouble. Well, there are servants. They work for us. We should be able to get them in trouble. They should be able to get in trouble for doing what they're not supposed to do.
I would agree with the sentiment that, yes, you should be able to, like, cops or judges or whatever, if they do something wrong, they should be able to, be held accountable for that. That's fine. The problem is, you don't understand what they're actually allowed to do, and why. You just think nothing applies.
Harass the public that they are the servants of. It don't matter if they pull me over. I'm part of the public. I'm part of we the people. They have no legal jurisdiction over we the people. There's no law that states that they have jurisdiction over we, the people.
What do you think they're there for, then? I'm so confused. If you think that the police have no authority, then why are governments spending money on police? Like, if they have no authority and can't do anything, why would they put money into it? It doesn't make any sense.
But y'all want to be dumb and live in their little world and just obey them and parrot them and help them.
Again, if you would like police reform, then you need to do that through, like, other means. You're not going to argue a cop to their face about the system, and even if you convince that individual of something, it has nothing to do with the structural issues with policing in the United States. Like, what do you even think you're doing?
When they're not your friend, they're your enemy, because one day they're going to treat you the same as they treat me.
Me recognizing that police have authority isn't saying that I agree with everything the police do. I'm in reality where laws apply. I'm sorry that you consider that to be some sort of grievous sin, but it is the reality. I accidentally hit the wrong button. Ignore that. We're not playing bingo.
Or anybody else that they treated worse than me. I've got a bruise on my wrist from them handcuffs. That's excessive force. I'm not supposed to have any marks on me when they're done with me, from beginning to the end. I'm not supposed to be left with any marks. Bring the handcuffs tied behind me, my hands behind my back, and there's more room in those bigger vehicles. I don't know what they call them, but the big trucks, they do have more room inside of there than them little cars. And so I got to where once I got positioned right, I could actually put my hands behind my back and sit, but I had to be, bent the other way, and one hand, my left hand, the cuff was a little bit looser, so I was able to move it up and down and actually get my wrist right, and do this, which, because when you do this, you make your wrist thicker. It tightens up. When you let go, it relaxes, and then the cuffs are a little bit looser. And a lot of people, they do this when they go to put their cuffs on, and they put them on a little tight, and then when you release, it's kind of a little bit looser. So when
That's actually a good piece of advice if you're ever getting arrested and you want it to not be as tight. It's a good tip.
I had my hands behind my back, I could place my hand like this, and it was fine.
Houdini used to do that with, that's one of the, things he would use to get out of, like, straitjackets, was he would puff himself out really big when they tied it, and then, once they had tied it as tight as they could, he would relax it and give him more slack to work everything out.
But this one, because there's no wiggle room between the cuffs, I got a bruise. Excessive force. I was injured while in the custody.
Look, I don't want, like, people to be injured by handcuffs or anything, even to this extent, if they don't have to be, like, totally, I get it. But I think it's pretty fucked up when, like, there are people who regularly actually get, like, killed and severely beaten by the police, that you're calling this excessive force. Like, I get it. I'm not saying you were necessarily treated great. I understand. I also have problems with policing in the United States, but, like, A, they did have the authority to arrest you because you were being a dumbass. Not because you were being a dumbass, but your dumbassery made you break laws. Oh god, I lost my train of thought already. They had the authority to do it, and you were, like, I don't know, you were like, they handcuffed you because your whole thing, the reason you were being arrested was for resisting. Like, was for not agreeing, like, not going along with, like, basic law shit. And I get it. I understand that there are situations in life where it's like, this law is unjust. This wasn't that situation. It really wasn't. You were speeding. Take the ticket. Give them your ID. Get your car registered.
The U.S. Authority figures. They work for the U.S. government. The U.S. government created police. The U.S. government created sheriffs. The U.S. government created state troopers through the states that are federal states. They're all federal states. They're not local.
Pretty sure most police are local.
There is no local. We're not ran under local.
There's federal authority, state authority, and local authority. It trickles downward, like the highest is the federal and then state and local, but like all coexist with different responsibilities and powers. It's not either or.
The government gives them money, and then they do what the government wants. Here's some money. Put up speed limit signs. Put up...
I mean, sure, that is a thing. That's actually interesting. Getting speed limits in line, I think, was involved with... And so was the drinking age. The federal government didn't... I don't think federally initially raised the law for, like, alcohol consumption to 21 in the United States, but they did tie federal highway funding in states to saying only states that had, you know, the age raised to 21 for drinking could get these funds or something. So yes, there is coercive action where the federal government will sort of use soft power to incentivize or disincentivize state or local governments into doing certain things, but it's not direct authority. It's complicated, as you would imagine, you know, the interactions between federal, state, and local governments would be. The world is a complicated place. MH Darkbeast says, saw someone mention this yesterday, but Cirrus is doing a wellness check on you for watching Gina after seeing her Digimon episode. Oh god.
And you're telling me that Logic and Hannah have done multiple videos on this woman? Have they managed to keep their sanity? Do I need to check up on people to see if they're okay? Is that a thing I need to do? Because apparently, I might need to do that.
It's alright. He'll grow to love Gina just like we have. Answer Amazing, thanks for 14 months, says, hello, Howana? How we woted? How are you? I'm good. Some of those W's were unearned. Some of those W's were really pushing it. That's not where those W's would go in Uwu speak. But you paid me. And I'm cheap. So.
Stop signs. We'll give you some money to help teach these people to learn how to be under the control of authority and to be grown-up children under authority that doesn't exist. That's not supposed to exist. So y'all believe what you want. You can be stupid, you know, broken and unfixable, retarded, and believe what you want. But it's the truth.
Hbird says Gina is a national hero. She led an expedition to the sun wearing only a thrift store astronaut costume. Truly, she's the best of us.
It's the reason why they do what they do is because of people like you. It's because of the few people like you. It's not the majority. Everybody hates what's going on. And then people, oh, there's nothing we can do. You just gotta accept it, and that's how they win. Because you give up.
Things I hate Twitch times too.
You give up and let these tyrants win. That's why they do what they do.
Reminder that this is over a goddamn speeding ticket. This is his, like, Braveheart speech. And it's because he got caught speeding and driving with an unregistered car.
Because you give up. You cower down. You say, oh, I'll obey you, master. Just don't punish me too hard, please. Y'all are stupid. You're broken and unfixable. But I'm gonna see if I can find me a lawyer. It'll be as cheap as possible because
notoriously lawyers are very cheap.
In the beginning, I was falsely pulled over, falsely detained, and then arrested for being pulled over under a false allegation of speeding. I'm allowed 5 miles an hour over the speed limit in the state of Texas. And the judge has to enforce that law. And then she has to throw everything out. Because I got a dang female lawyer, or judge.
Oh, is this gonna get sexist?
I need a lawyer, and I'm a dang female lawyer. She has to throw everything out. Because I got a dang female lawyer, or
Wow.
judge. So I need a lawyer, and I want to recuse this judge from my case.
For being a woman? I don't think that's gonna go over well. Holy shit. Oh, imagine going into a lawyer's office and being like, I need you to file a motion to get this judge to recuse herself because she's a woman. No lawyer who wants to keep their license is going to file that for you. What is wrong with you? You're so ridiculous. Come on, man.
On the suspicion that she is biased against the U.S. Constitution.
Because she's a woman?
But she's there just to only be a racketeering agent to make money for the state, not to be there to protect we the people from the...
Speeding laws exist to protect everyone from people who would dangerously drive. At least that's the idea, right? So, in stopping you, that was in the interest of public safety. Do you understand that? H-Bird says this guy's seeing his judge. Aw, I miss Starship, I miss Deep Space Nine. Babylon 5 is coming out on Blu-ray later this year. I've yet to see it, but I've heard it's good. So I'm excited, chat. Makes me want to watch Star Trek again. It's from the beginning. Start with original series, TNG, Deep Space Nine, so on. Animated series is in there too.
The state. They work on behalf of the state. They're the ones that gives them their paycheck from our stolen money in forced taxation.
Okay, so public defenders are a good thing because the legal system is incredibly difficult to navigate, even for lawyers, much less a lay person who has no chance. So it's been found that in order to make sure that you have a fair trial, you have a right to an attorney. Now, those attorneys, of course, have to be paid, so they are paid through public funding because they're public defenders, right? It's like how we pay people who put out fires, you know, firefighters, which is definitely not a word I forgot for a second. Firefighters, we collectively pay them, and then if your house is on fire, they come and put the fire out, right? That's the point. In functional countries, hospitals and insurance is public for the same reason.
Unlawful forced taxation. There's no...
Does the Babylon 5 box set include the animated movie? I actually didn't see, I'm not sure.
Something that says that they have the lawful right in the U.S. Constitution to lay taxes upon the people of the land. Nothing. Go read it.
I'm sorry, you think that, they didn't think that they were ever going to have to raise taxes in the United States? No. Are you crazy? Are you insane? Income tax wasn't a thing until, I want to say World War II. Might have been World War I. Maybe World War II? One of the world wars, right? And it was supposed to be a temporary measure that ended up continuing, which honestly makes sense, you know? society is way bigger and more complicated than it used to be, so it does make sense that you need a lot of funding to get things done. Though I do wish rich people had more of the tax burden. The idea that, like, do you think that, like, even during, like, the life of, like, I don't know, like, George Washington, do you think that during the life of the Founding Fathers, the federal United States government never had to get taxes in order to function? Certainly, federal power and taxes have increased over time. I don't disagree. But, like, the idea that you think that they didn't have any interest in collecting taxes ever at all is insane to me. H. Baird says, when your house catches on fire, the fire department comes and puts it out, paid via taxes. Yet the ambulance, which comes from the same firehouse and is staffed by the same people, costs an arm and a leg. Figure that out.
And that the laws of the U.S. government and the laws of the U.S. Constitution are to be enforced upon the people, the citizens of the U.S. government. It doesn't say that in there anywhere. In the government and the departments thereof that the government creates. The departments that the government creates. They're all to obey the U.S. Constitution. Not me, not you. They put their hand up and they say, I swear to uphold.
By the moon and the stars in the sky, I'll be there.
Defend.
I'd probably go to law school, or if that's what you got to do when you actually, like, became a judge. That'd be fun.
And enforce.
Or I could just do karaoke, one or the other.
The U.S. Constitution of law. All the rest, the state constitution, the state laws, that's second. That's secondary. That's below.
Right, they are secondary, but they have the right to do it. Right? Traffic laws are legal. Hydrate.
Oh, the first laws created in 1776, the only laws created that the people of the government are to obey and enforce upon themselves to protect us from them.
Literally, the Constitution lays out how to form the legislature for the federal government, which is to pass laws. And also, as we said earlier, the 10th Amendment allows states to continue to have their own governments that act independently, albeit still their authority being under that of the federal government. But as long as they don't come into conflict, the state government can do whatever. It only becomes an issue when the federal government says, you can't do that, or we are doing something different with that and making a different regulation. In conflict, the federal government wins out against the state. But the state has autonomy in and of itself to make laws and stuff as long as it doesn't contradict federal law or constitution stuff.
That's what government was created for. That's what the U.S. Constitution was created for, to protect us, not to rule over us.
And by us, he means southern white men.
Protect us.
Not inaccurate.
Not to create laws over we the people, to protect us, to create laws to protect us from them and foreigners. Outsiders. Foreign. And then if someone that's domestic wants to be a terrorist towards the government or the people of America, that's what they are for. To protect themselves and us from them. So
I'm sorry, did you just imply that you think that the Constitution protects your right to be a terrorist against the federal government, or did I misunderstand that? I have to go back.
And foreigners. What government and enforce the U.S. Constitution. People of the government are to obey and enforce upon themselves to protect us from them. That's what government was created for. That's what the U.S. Constitution was created for, to protect us. Not to rule over us.
That's what the Bill of Rights is for, yes, to restrict the role of government. Yes, I would agree. That doesn't mean they have no authority.
To protect us. Not to create laws over we the people.
Again, before the Bill of Rights, I don't know if you've seen the part before the Bill of Rights, but there's a whole ass constitution before it that literally lays out the federal government's, like, how they're gonna structure the legislature, the Senate, and the House, and how they're gonna, you know, decide who gets to be a part of it, and their sessions, and how it's gonna function. Like, that's all in there. You can read it. Like, I'm not saying you have to, but it literally says in there, like, we're gonna make laws, and here's how.
To protect us, to create laws to protect us from them and foreigners,
Yikerinos.
outsiders, foreign.
Oh. He's just throwing in the word foreign as much as possible. This is very uncomfortable.
And if someone that's domestic wants to be a terrorist towards the government or the people of America, that's what they are for. To protect themselves and us from them.
Okay, no, he said the opposite. Good. I'm glad I misunderstood that. He was not advocating for terrorism.
Sociopaths going out and creating violence and murdering people.
Unlike me, who is only going to commit manslaughter by speeding.
And destroying property. Unjustly. Out of the context of law. They're outside of law. But y'all be stupid. Broken and unfixable. It's not my problem. It's yours. You're the
I think the judge is going to disagree.
one that don't like what I'm doing. You're the
Correct, and they have the authority to stop it. And it's not about liking or disliking. You were breaking the law, and it's not even a law that you can really be like, this is an unjust law. It's a speeding law. Don't speed. Don't fucking speed. Stop it. Please stop. Be safe. You're not on the Audubon. Calm down.
one that don't like that I won't obey another human. There's no law that says that I am to obey another human of the United States government. Or
I think this guy's a Christian. Jesus did say to render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and it was pretty clear that, like, hey, earthly authority is earthly authority as long as I remain, you know, the king of the spiritual realm, basically. Like, here on earth is temporary. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, you know? As long as you worship God or whatever, and you believe Jesus, then the kingdom of heaven or whatever, you'll be a part of it, and it's all his, and whatever. That's my understanding, at least. Like, I don't understand where he gets this idea that, like, no one has authority over me. If the world worked like this, it would be chaos. Like, it would be insane. Like, I'm not saying most people have proclivities toward violence. I don't think most people do. I think most people are completely fine and, like other people, or, you know, at the very least don't have ill intent towards them maliciously, you know? But of course, there are people out there who are bad, scary people. There are sociopaths, you know? There are psychopaths, right? There's a reason that we do have law enforcement of some kind. I don't think the version we have now is good for a variety of reasons, but also the idea of having no one who can be like, stop, don't stab that person, or stop, you can't abuse your partner or that child, you know? Like, there are things we all kind of collectively agree on, and no matter what our society looks like, as long as there are people who want to or intend to do harm to others, there will be people who want to stop that, and will collectively get together and determine how to do that. Right? The idea that you just think you owe no one anything disgusts me. You have rights. We all have rights, and I think those are great things. Rights are like these social agreements that we all come to. We say as a society, these are our ideals, and we agree that no one should have to be, you know, treated in these ways, or people have the right to these things because this is right, you know? These things aren't the same across all cultures and times, but it's important that we have these things as constructs in society, so we have some baseline standard, right, from which we can, you know, have discussions about what should be legal, illegal, moral, whatever. You know? But to say that you think that you get all these rights, but you have no responsibilities to anyone is insane. Like, you are a human being with a bunch of other humans around. Our greatest asset is the fact that we all live together and we're a very social species, and that security and that progress and all of the things we see around us that benefit us comes at somewhat of a cost, and that is, we owe each other. We're humans. We have a responsibility to each other to, like, not be shitty to other people, to behave in ways that are not antisocial and hurt others, like speeding, just as an example, randomly pulled out of a hat. You don't get to benefit from all of the good that society brings and also not feel that you, bare minimum, treat other people not shitty and act like you're not the only human being on the planet. It's not difficult. Stop being a dick.
Of the state. None. No law that says I am obligated to obey authorities of a state or of the state government. Federal or local. Go look it up. Don't argue with me. Go look it up. Prove me wrong. Make a video.
You're wrong. I'm making a video.
Prove everybody wrong. Oh, this is what it says here, here, here. I got proof.
Do I need to show any of you proof that the government has authority over you? I think that's kind of like a thing we're already past in terms of first premises, you know?
Show us. Don't come on here and just fuck with us. That's all you do. You just go on there.
That's the best impression of me I've ever heard.
You cry. Why won't you just obey and comply? You gotta have this and that. I'm gonna come on here and then bully you and troll you like a sociopath.
Did you know that it's bullying to point out when someone is stating wrong things about the law on the internet? Crazy. He has so much respect for other people, I can only assume that's why he expects that in return.
Because I want to help enforce tyranny and terror.
Tyranny is when I can't speed and not have my car registered. How little problems do you have to have in your life that that's tyranny? Good God.
Upon the American people, that's what you're doing. You're helping to enforce tyranny and terrorism.
It's actually funny, because, like, when I leave my house, I don't think, like, oh, I hope I don't get caught speeding today because I don't intend to speed. I think, I hope I don't get assaulted today because I'm trans or whatever. Like, how few problems do you have to be like, I didn't get away with speeding, I'm mad. God damn.
Upon the American people. You're not here to help everybody and yourself to be free. You're here to implement slavery.
It's interesting that you are both a Confederate apologist, but also using slavery as an example of something that is bad and saying that the police are trying to enslave you. But also, you don't think the Civil War was a good thing and that the North should have just left it be and that it was about states' rights. It was about states' rights to own slaves. Not only that, that's actually something that's simplified. Not only did the South want to keep slavery, at the time containment was actually a pretty, consistent policy, or at least a consistent thing that a lot of people in the North agreed with, and they thought, okay, slavery's gonna die out for economic reasons over the next however many decades anyway. Let's just keep it in the southern states where it already is, and not spread it further, and it'll, die out naturally. Naturally, air quote. But then the South was like, fuck that. No, we want to expand this into Texas and Mexico and create a super giant slave nation. I should say a supergiant nation that's primary ideological goal is to preserve the institution of slavery. Yeah, not good. Not good. The South, I don't know if you know this, the Confederacy was fucking dog shit. Terrible people. Terrible, terrible people.
There's the state, which is actually humans of a imaginary state. It's imaginary. Exists, right?
To be clear, I should say, like every war in history, I'm sure there were a fair number of people in the South who really didn't know what the fuck was going on and were really, like, gullible and probably fell victim to government propaganda of, like, save your homeland. But fundamentally, the reasons behind the decision to secede in the first place was slavery. And slavery was seen as, like, an important cultural institution to these people for the most part.
Here, the drawing on paper, once they...
No amount of PragerU content is going to convince people otherwise. I hope not. That's the thing that scares me the most, if I'm being honest. Because I don't know. Maybe there's parents out there who can kind of assuage my fears a little bit. I don't have kids. So I'm 10 years out of high school. I don't know what high school's like, much less middle and elementary school. I don't know what it's like in places other than Florida, because that's the place I hear so many bad things about, and it gets reported on pretty regularly, or Texas, or other places often in the South. If we're talking like school-age kids elsewhere in the country, let's say, anywhere in the Northwest or the West Coast or anything, are school programs like better? Like, are kids still learning like, hey, slavery is bad, except for Florida? And a lot of the South, I'm sure that's always been a problem for the South, I've heard, in terms of their education as not being truthful about the Civil War. But you'll have first-hand reports of Florida soon. Please be safe. Be so safe. You couldn't pay me $100,000 to step foot in Florida right now. I'm not even kidding. And, like, I understand that that's maybe over-scared, but, like, not worth the risk. Not worth it. And it's sad. I went to Florida a lot as a kid because my grandparents lived there. So I have a lot of nostalgia for Florida and the ugly pastel tourist traps of Orlando. Maybe one of the reasons I like the Florida Project so much. Also just a good movie, though. The guy that directed that's one of my favorite still working directors. Red Rocket, his most recent movie, also pretty good. But anyway, I'm kind of hoping that between Florida now being an absolute death trap for me, and whenever it sinks under the ocean reclaimed by Poseidon, I hope somewhere in the middle there's a place where it'll be safe for me to maybe visit and see Disney World one last time before it's full of fish. And probably trash, like WALL-E. That's ironic, because Disney. WALL-E's a great movie, and it's in the Criterion Collection. I don't know if you know this. The only Pixar movie in the Criterion Collection, maybe the only Disney movie in the Criterion Collection, WALL-E. Great film. Weird that Disney made it. But I guess that's true of any media criticizing capitalism being put out through the Hollywood system, which is inevitably that. I'm over-talking. H. Baird says, earlier this year I went to South America. The only time I felt unsafe was having layovers in Miami. Yeah, I bet.
They draw it on paper and write the writing, the words on paper.
Maybe Disney will become a walled-off refuge when the state drowns and burns. How has no one ever done... I guess it's a budgetary thing. My favorite zombie movie is Dawn of the Dead. Let me double-check if that's true. Yeah, my favorite zombie movie's Dawn of the Dead. Return of the Living Dead's probably a close second. But I like Dawn of the Dead a lot. And a lot of the fun of Dawn of the Dead is, of course, the mall setting. All the things you can do with that, just being in a mall, alone, the different ways you kill zombies. Like, that's so iconic that it basically was ripped off as the premise for the game Dead Rising. No, not the remake, the original. The George Romero one. I don't really care for the remake as much. It's Zack Snyder's best movie, probably. The problem is I don't even like Zack Snyder when he's good. The only Zack Snyder film I like is Sucker Punch, and it's not because it's good, it's because it's so bad it puts me in awe. It is awful in the literal sense. It is full of awe and in a bad way. It's awful. Anyway, I was saying Dawn of the Dead is fun. Also one of the reasons I love the Dead Rising series. But I always thought, like, a Disney-like park would make a really good, setting for one of these movies. Like a zombie movie like Dawn of the Dead. Surviving in a theme park.
And then it goes right here, and then it's on paper, and right here.
The original is gold. Yes! Has a effect from Tom Savini with the shotgun to the head. Pretty good. Not his best shotgun to the head effect, but not bad.
And then you go, okay, it exists. I'll allow it. I'll believe it to exist. And in your mind, you're going to believe it. It's right here and on paper. It's not legit. It's not in reality. Never was and never will be. It's imaginary. It's their utopia. And they need you to volunteer to live under their utopia. To consent to be under...
In their utopia, where we have to follow basic speeding laws. Fenigami says, as a parent, we're keeping conservatives away from our kids' education as much as possible. Marilyn says the Civil War was about slavery when I was in school 20 years ago. I think this asshole fell for it because he's one of the whitest men I've ever seen. MH Dark Beast says, the reason the Dawn of the Dead remake is actually good, James Gunn wrote it. So sad that the Snyder cultists have a hate boner for James Gunn now. Yeah, I'm interested to see what he'll do. From what I've seen online, it seems like I'm in the minority here. I didn't really like Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I thought it was kind of a mess. Just speaking of James Gunn. Like, individual things in it I liked. I liked the Rocket story a lot. The villain was, like, really fucked up and good. But it felt like other stuff that was going on, the other plots, were really disjointed. Don't hate me.
Their jurisdiction. Their control. But then if you don't, you're still forced. You're still forced to be under it.
And the soundtrack isn't as good. The soundtrack is far worse than the first two movies. That's subjective. Well, I mean, everything's subjective in terms of movies. But, like, in my subjective music taste, soundtrack was not nearly as fun.
I need a lawyer. I need help. I need to recuse this judge from my case.
Because?
So I can get out of this. Because it's bullshit. They're not going to railroad me. That's why I don't show up to court.
Oh, gee, I wonder why you have so many warrants. I thought you just said you were going to go to court. Are you going to go or not? What are you doing?
They're biased to the U.S. Constitution.
They're biased to the U.S. Constitution. I don't think that's what he meant when... I don't think that's what he meant to get across. I think he meant to say they're biased against the U.S. Constitution. But I will accept the words he said, so.
Ignore it. They throw it out.
It's one of the best series in the MCU. I agree. I really like the... As much as I don't like Chris Pratt, I think he's, like, overrated, and also, personally, I think he's probably a dickbag. But, like, I'm fine with him in the first two Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He's fine. I even like him in 2 a little bit, you know? I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I have daddy issues. I get it. I cried at the end of part 2. I just thought 3 wasn't particularly good. The first 2 are some of my favorite MCU movies, unironically. Totally. They're great. Just didn't like the third one very much.
For money. It ain't for your protection. It ain't for my protection. It's for money.
I think they fucked up by killing... I'm just gonna say it. Spoilers, I guess, for Avengers Endgame. I think they fucked up killing Gamora. Like, I think... Or whatever movie that was. Not the one... Maybe the one before Endgame, Infinity War. I think it really fucked things up. It was too hard juggling the Rocket stuff with the Peter and alternate dimension Gamora stuff. She wasn't really brought back, though. No, it's weird. It's like her from another dimension, so it's not really her. She has no memories of these people because they're from a different universe where they never met the Guardians. So, like, it's weird. It's weird, and I don't like it. I did like the Guardians Christmas special, though. That was cute. Anyway.
There was no money.
We're almost done with this guy, by the way, and we'll move on to the Teaos thing, because I know a lot of people were interested in that.
Involved. I don't believe they'd actually enforce any of it. I think they'd say it's just too much work, too much money to spend on doing this, wasting fuel, wasting money to buy fuel for them to be out there and do all this. We're not making enough. We're not getting anything from the government, an incentive, a bribery. Here's you a bribe of funds. Put up stop signs, put up speed limit signs. We don't need them.
I'm sorry, did you just say we don't need stop signs? This man has taken the bold, hot stance against stop signs. I prefer a roundabout. Roundabouts are more efficient in many, many places. But the idea that you don't want stop signs to exist is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. What are you talking about? When you do have four-way stops, what are you going to do? You're going to have to stop anyway and look. So it would be less efficient, because now not every four-way stop is a four-way stop, even if it's an intersection. Sometimes it'll just be one direction, and then it has a continuous flow, and then the ones perpendicular cross. But if every one's a four-way stop, it's going to back up traffic. How do you think this works? Like, I'm not someone who knows how they design, like, traffic and stuff. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of work that goes into designing roads and, like, road signals and with the spacing between, like, signals and where to put stop signs and where to not put them. I'm sure there's a lot of thought that goes into that, like city engineering stuff. I have no idea. Okay? But the idea that anyone would think stop signs are a bad idea is insane to me. Oh.
If there wasn't any...
Oh, same. I tried to play City Skylines, and I had to quit because every time I built any kind of city, it inevitably collapsed. Like, the economy, and like, it starts out fine, and then I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Clearly, I have the wrong balance of, like, business and businesses to homes, and I don't have them effectively, like, put on the map. I end up either overshooting or undershooting the power or water, or I do it really inefficiently. Anyway, the cities will maybe start out fine and start to grow, but then everything will basically collapse in on itself. The economies will collapse, the businesses will start to close. It's bad. Don't let me design your city. I'd be bad at it.
People would still stop and make sure nobody's coming because they don't want to get hit by someone that's just going to go because there's no stop signs. People run them things anyways. People
run stop signs anyways, so just get rid of them. People stab people on the subway anyway, so let's get rid of the laws that make it illegal to stab people on the subway.
Roll up, do it, and keep rolling and go. Roll. It's not a stop. They're still rolling through it, just slower.
Other people breaking the law isn't a reason to get rid of the law.
Breaking the law. You do it, don't you? You break the law. You roll through them stop signs.
Yes, you're not supposed to do rolling stops, correct? You're just complaining about another law that exists for a good reason.
You don't fully stop. You're not a law-abider, but you're a hypocrite. Get on here complaining about shit. You do too.
I don't do rolling stops. I'm careful as much as I can be. I was in, like, a really severe car accident when I was younger. Like, I use signals and stuff even when I don't think anyone's around, just in case. Like, I'm always very careful about things.
And don't want to do, but know you have to. You're a hypocrite.
He's one of those guys who just thinks, well, everyone does it. No. You just suck. You just suck. Okay, let me pull up the Teaos thing. I'm not sure, because I had to download it, because this is from their Telegram page. He has the Teaos thing has multiple Telegram pages in different languages, and I went into the English one, and this video wasn't on his YouTube, but it was on the Telegram. Let me see, can I... That's the wrong one.
Hey guys, Reg is here.
Nah, you guys can't see that. I'm gonna have to do a window capture. Give me 1 second to do that. This usually happens with VLC. It doesn't get read for whatever reason correctly. Put this back to the internet. Oopsie. And where is my display capture? Did that do it? Cool. You guys can still see me, right? Hold on, let me actually pull this over here so I can control anything if I need to. Cool. Alright, so if you missed the first State of Teaos thing that we covered, basically, this guy is a sovereign citizen who lives in Canada, though he would probably disagree with that description, because he believes that he has successfully seceded from Canada. He hasn't. You can't do that. He basically took a bunch of land, or claims a bunch of land that is currently already being used by a logging operation. We watched a video where he like outlined, you know, oh, this is an independent nation and we have extradition powers, and if you join my country, we're gonna build this like city, yada 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 yada. Bunch of just ramblings. And we also saw him actually on the property, seemingly freshly cleared of trees in some areas, and he just walked around and was like, yeah, here's where the city's gonna be, etc., etc. So here he is talking about child protective services, because he's upset that his children were taken away by whatever CPS is in Quebec. I know it has a different name. So let's get into it.
A couple days ago on the French side, I think I made it on the English side too. I posted a kind of call out for people who might be in a situation of difficulties or of injustice into the legal courts of other states. Now, there's
I was just making sure the space bar would pause it.
multiple forms of injustice. It can be criminal injustice, but usually it's related to children. That's one of the most pressing or the most painful ones to do. For example, we know that in the United States, hundreds of thousands of children are kidnapped for their families.
I assume he's referring to Child Protective Services. Now, I understand that Child Protective Services is understaffed, underfunded, and unfortunately, things happen where either things are underreported and underdealt with, where children who are being abused aren't kept safe, and on the flip side, I understand that there are situations where CPS can probably be weaponized against vulnerable people, vulnerable groups of people, whether it be due to, income or because of racism, whatever. I totally understand that these things can be misused, and that we need to improve these systems and safety nets that help people in society, especially the most vulnerable, like children. However, this idea that every single time CPS gets involved and takes kids away, this idea that it's always kidnapping and it's always wrong and it's always the parents are never in fault, that's insane to me. That is insane. You could criticize CPS or whatever services that you have in your country for not doing good enough, but the idea that you think that there are no situations where parents can be deemed to be abusive or negligent towards their children, and no one should ever have the rights to take them away, is fucked up. Because we live in the real world, where as much as we do respect the rights of parents, very much so in fact, there are people who hurt children in a variety of different ways. Physical, emotional, through neglect, right? Psychological stuff, physical stuff. There's all sorts of reasons that children get taken away. In the case of this gentleman, based on his previous videos, it seems that he was homeschooling his children, but based on a lot of his conspiratorial weird beliefs, I'm assuming his version of homeschooling probably didn't involve a lot of facts. So at some point his children were removed from his custody. Now, I don't know if they continue to not be in his custody. That has not come up. I don't know if at any point, he got custody back of the kids or whatever. But I do know they were taken away, and that's all I know.
Some may be legit abuse. Huh? Some may be...
I would argue this guy, and this is just, I don't know all of the details of the case, obviously. I'm just stating my own opinion. The vibes I get from this guy and the things he believes and what he says on his website, I get the impression that probably whatever he was having his kids learn in his homeschool probably were not adequate. Your children are not your property. Your children are human beings with rights. Your children have the right to be educated. Your children have the right to be able to read and write and know math and proper science and history that's real and not based on conspiracy bullshit. I get it. Again, just like CPS, there are plenty of things to criticize about public schooling systems. Underfunding, right? I understand. I get it. You can talk about how history by states are often whitewashed. In the United States, often when it comes to darker parts of history like slavery, Jim Crow, stuff like that. How the native individuals of the United States were just basically wiped out and forcibly removed from their homes, right? That happened in Canada as well, right? That's fine. It's fine to criticize certain things, but this idea that, like, learning your bullshit is somehow better than an education with flaws that is based in reality is insane.
Legit, but there's a lot that are not. A lot suffer from injustice. So I made that call, and it was not the first time I made that call, but this time we found echo. On the French side, we got a lot of people that came out with, needing help with the cases of kidnapping of their children.
This is not uncommon in sovereign citizen type groups. The kind of people who tend to get pulled into this sort of conspiracy nonsense are involved in disputes with having parenting rights to their kids, having their kids taken away by CPS or whoever. Often cases, we saw this a lot in the QAnon community too, and it almost became a vicious cycle where QAnon people would get super involved in the QAnon conspiracy stuff to the point where their spouses would leave them, or if their spouse was wrapped in on it, potentially the child would get taken away for abuse or neglect or whatever. It was deemed by the courts that the parent was maybe not psychologically sound enough to be a parent to the child at the time. And a lot of these people believed that this was like, they're being punished by the deep state because they knew too much. Some of them also moved into this sort of sovereign citizen area where they believe, I can use these secret words or have some secret understanding of the Constitution or some other pseudo-legal nonsense that basically makes them think that they can disregard or remove the authority of the state. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
So in response to that, of a lady who came over, I made a video, and that was kind of an ad hoc video. I made it quickly. I just wanted to explain her the process. And now I'm making it here on the English side to mirror that video, okay? So basically I'm addressing here cases where the CPS, or Child Persecution Services, which I...
Ha ha ha, because normally the P stands for protection, get it? Because he thinks that CPS is always a bad thing and kidnap all children.
I think they call it Child Protection Services, but ironically...
Protective.
It's most often persecution. And
I don't know about that.
sometimes I think in other states they call it DYP, or Department of Youth Persecution, or they somewhat mean Department of Youth Protection. So I'm going to talk about here.
You use the same pun twice. That's lazy. Like, you can't just do it twice and expect it to have the same effect. You already made that joke. That's the same joke twice, just on different acronyms.
CPS, DYP. I'm going to use the term CPS as they do in the United States, but understand that it applies to both. And in the French, they call it the DPJ, for Département de la Protection ou la Persécution de la Jeunesse. Right? So, what you need to know is this. So, if you are a citizen of a foreign state, okay?
It's funny to me, too, that he seems to be like, oh, it doesn't matter if it's the United States or Canada. This will apply equally, as if the United States and Canada have all the same laws. That's not how this works.
This, you have to understand, applies to every country on Earth, okay? It does.
Oh, it got even dumber. No. Laws around the world are all sorts of different. Don't get me wrong, there are commonalities. Murder is illegal pretty much everywhere in the world. I can't even think of a place where it's not, where there's any sort of law. But, like, the idea that you can have some universal rule that's going to apply to every jurisdiction on the planet is crazy. What about North Korea? Is your secret legal mumbo jumbo gonna work in North Korea? I just realized, is mumbo jumbo like an offensive thing? Should I not say that? Does that come from like racist 1940s, 1950s something? It sounds like that kind of thing. Sorry if it is. Logarth says, dollar store Ricky Gervais. Oof. True.
Doesn't matter which one. Now, in this scenario, as an example, I'm going to use Canada, and I'm going to use a province like Ontario, okay? I'm going to use Ontario and Canada as an example, but it really applies to all, okay? So, so if you're in, you're a citizen of...
Does Ricky Gervais still do stuff? I haven't heard about him in years. He used to be a favorite of, like, the people who are like, oh, he's not PC. He sticks it to the Hollywood elites at the Golden Globes, and he made a lot of jokes about trans people and stuff that were pretty shitty. Does he still do stuff?
Say Canada and Ontario.
It's more colonial 19th century nonsense. Okay.
And you get taken by the DYP CPS.
On the bright side, is Carl Pilkington an asshole? Because I think Carl Pilkington was kind of always the funniest thing ever related to Ricky Gervais.
And
what about the other guy? The guy who played Wheatley? Ricky Gervais. I'm thinking of the people that were on the Ricky Gervais podcast. Stephen Merchant is his name, right? Stephen Merchant cool, or is he a TERF?
It turns to hell very quickly for
Listen to their full radio show, Carl Does Not Trust Vaccinations. Damn it.
For random reasons, they could...
His travel show's funny. Unfortunate, though. Is Carl Pilkington a character? I really can't tell. It definitely seems like... Is it just him playing up his natural personality? Or is that really how he is? MH Darkbeast says, these Easter eggs from My Adventures with Superman are great. Pretty much every cartoon era. Episodes also featured Flesher's Lois, Keyblade Lois, and Male Lois, as well as Red Sun Superman, Justice Lord Superman, etc. I've heard such great things about this show. Oh my god, Clark is hot. Holy shit.
Not Superman, I'm
getting 90s... as a young person, I really enjoyed Dean Cain's Superman. I enjoyed the adventures of Lois and Clark. I liked Dean Cain. He was a cutie. It's too bad he's a chud.
Nope.
I'm charged with the safety of the multiverse, son. So I need you to put on your suit and come with me.
Okay, look, I'm not Superman. I'm just,
Mild-mannered Clark Kent, wannabe reporter with superpowers.
Nice try, sport, but Clark is Superman in almost every reality. This Earth, Earth 12, Earth 50, Earth 508, weird Earth. The works.
Crab Superman.
How did you... Was I a crab?
There are infinite universes out there, pal, and infinite Supermen. But I'm here because Lois Lane is in danger. You're Lois Lane. She's been kidnapped by a gang of interdimensional criminals.
That seems great. Ooh, I like his suit, too. That's sharp. I'm okay with that S logo. There are some really good and really bad S logos. I don't normally like it that sharp. I normally like it to have a little bit around, but that's a pretty good one. Anyway, I know I keep getting distracted.
And take the children away. Now, what you need to know is that in pretty much every other state on Earth, except Teaos, your children are not your children, okay? That's not how they see it.
Your children are your children. Your children just aren't your property. Children are human beings that have rights of their own, separate from the rights you have as a parent. That's why you can take children away if they're being abused, because children have a right to not be abused.
The way they see it is that you took your children, and when you asked for a birth certificate, you basically gave them ownership of that child.
No, you didn't. It has absolutely nothing to do with that.
Child in trust, and then they divided the title to that child into two. Of course, they are executor of the trust.
No, they're not. Literally, the child is just a human being in their jurisdiction, and human beings have certain rights. It's illegal to assault other people. Your child is a person. Even if you're their parent, you can't assault them, abuse them, whatever.
They are beneficiary of the trust.
Cloud Wizard says, don't you remember, Hannah? Child is a title, so you have title over your child. I actually looked to see if that guy was doing anything, because we haven't watched him in a while. He's just reposting some other person's audiobook. I miss him. He was fun. He was like Sovsit Peter.
Or the child is beneficiary of the trust, depending on, because they actually make multiple trusts, so depending on the perspective, either it's them or the child, and they put the parents as fiduciary or as trustee, okay? So
literally, no, you're just the parents of the kid.
Oh, technically you don't own your children.
No one owns their children. You do not own your children. Your children are not your property. You are their guardian. You do not own them. Oh my god.
You manage the child for, according to their orders, for the benefit of either the state or the child.
Hopefully the child. You should be raising your child for the benefit of the child, not for you. In your head, are you thinking, I must raise my child with my best interests in mind? Jesus Christ, no wonder this guy got his kids taken away. What a piece of shit. No offense to anyone with a goatee. I say this as someone who used to have a goatee in my cope beard phase for a little bit. Or at least I think I ended up not doing the goatee right. No, I did the goatee. Oh, yikes. That was terrible. Anyway, kind of feels like beards, and I know there's plenty of men out there who are perfectly great dudes with beards. In particular, though, when you have a lot around this center, whether it's a goatee or in this case he has very little right here, it's just mostly here. Like he trimmed this down, but it's a lot right here, but it's still a little tight, like it's not down here ZZ Top scruffy. I don't know, gives me a vibe. What is that vibe? Lumi! How's it going? Hello, everyone. I am Hannah. My pronouns are she, her. We are doing a Sovereign Citizen Day. I'm Hannah. I am a leftist variety streamer, and I cover all sorts of weird internet sub-communities, groups that have different cult-like behaviors or delusions. Talk about why that might be, why the things they're saying are wrong, and just hang out and have a good time. Make sure you go check out Lumi. They are a wonderful, wonderful person. God, I gotta come hang out. I haven't been in your stream in a while. I gotta come hang out and chat. So make sure you go follow Lumi, please. In chat, there is a link. So this gentleman believes that he has created his own independent country in Canada by the name of Teaos. He thinks that he has basically annexed a portion of property from Canada, and not like a little bit. I don't mean like his house. I mean like a lot. It's bigger than the state of Michigan, I think, when we looked, is the amount of land mass that he has claimed to have taken from Canada by writing letters. And he's talking about how he thinks it's so unfair that his children were taken away because he was homeschooling them, and based on the things he said, it seems like he was probably educating them little, if at all, and the things he taught them were probably nonsense. Like conspiracy, weird stuff. Anyway, so he's talking about why he thinks it's wrong that the government took his kids away for him being negligent at best. I did want to preface by saying, I said this earlier, but for the Raiders, I recognize that, like, Child Protective Services is far from a perfect institution. I am not saying they are always right. I am not saying that they protect every child to the best of their abilities. I also understand that they have been and can be weaponized against vulnerable groups, presently and in the past. What I am saying is, of course, there are people who really do abuse their children, and those children need to be protected. Seems like this guy was probably like that. But instead of getting help, he now thinks that he has his own country. I think he's in Quebec. He would disagree. He would say, I'm in the independent state of Teaos. But I'm pretty sure Teaos is in Quebec. Or at least he's from Quebec.
And if you don't make them happy, if they're not happy with your performance as a trustee, they can just replace you. You're a tutor, right? They can replace you at any time. So they can just swap you out and they'll put another one. That's
your child, again, like I said before the raid, your child has rights, they're not your property. So if you were abusing that child or neglecting them, whether it's, not feeding them, not, giving them stimulation in the sense that, they have anything to do, like if you just locked them in a blank room all day or whatever, if you emotionally abused them or terrorized them, physical abuse, other kinds of abuse, there are all reasons that a child is not your property. They're a person with rights. And then, if those rights are violated by a parent, the parent can be separated from the child for their own safety.
How they, assign a foster family. And these foster families make money. It's business, okay?
Oh my god. I have also heard, and I don't know how true this is, but I've heard of people who get into the foster care system and treat the kids like absolute dog shit and pocket money that should be going towards the kids' expenses and stuff. But honestly, I cannot imagine those people are getting enough money that if they are doing that, it's a very lucrative grift. And in those cases, the people who figure that out would probably also be CPS who would be dealing with this. People are aware that there are problems with the systems that protect children. It doesn't mean that the solution is to stop trying to protect children.
The courts of these states, they make money on bonds on the case, right? The attorneys are paid. So they and the CPS.
I would imagine overall that courts probably do not make a profit. Like, courts are not a for-profit business. Certainly there are fines and things. But, everyone working at the courthouse has to be paid. Electricity costs money that the courthouse needs. There's upkeep costs. Like, it's not a business that someone is making money off of. I'd imagine courts in most areas probably run, if you want to even describe it this way, at a loss. But even that's weird to say because it's not a business. It's a service that exists in society to, make sure that laws are followed. So it's kind of weird that you're even treating it like, oh, they're stealing all my money. There are easier ways for them to steal your money. Why would they do it this way? That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, makes money too. They are paid, the agents, they're paid to have. Sometimes they get bonuses on the per case basis, right? So everybody makes money in that big machine. Do you really think the court has an incentive to stop early? Of course not. The attorneys, they pay. They don't want to get paid $1,000. They want to pay $25,000, and they want.
Screaming at the radio. Thanks for 27 months. Sub baby name, Veronica. Tortellini. Veronica Tortellini.
To keep you in these courts, they want you to have to come back. Once they assign the children, they want you to have to keep coming back, or or swap you into family courts, and then sometimes the father, sometimes the mother will have to pay insane amounts of money and come back to these courts forever because they get paid. The attorneys are laughing. It's their business model. That's how they pay the mortgage to not only their home but their second home and their cottage. That's true for the judges and the courts. They're ranking money, profit from that case. So it shouldn't last. It shouldn't be short. They want it as long as they can, because as long as it lasts, they make money, and that money goes back to the state, and it's invested in the society.
Again, states do not primarily like make their money through fines and stuff. They make it through taxes. What are you talking about?
So they make money. Okay, so you need to understand there's no incentive to make it last. It's just like for-profit prisons in the United States. They don't have an incentive to...
Right. You can point out perverse incentives elsewhere. That doesn't change the fact that you seemingly were mistreating your children by not allowing them to learn things.
Not send people into jail. No! They want people in prison. They manufacture situations to send them into prison. Well, it's the same thing for CPS, DYP. They manufacture situations to make money, so to send them people into courts, so everybody makes money. CPS makes...
Famously, CPS is rolling in cash and never has any budgetary issues.
money.
Cthulhu Flower, hats off. What would you like me to wear for the hats off?
Foster homes is a business. The courts make money, the attorneys make money, everybody makes money, except you. You pay. In all senses, in money, but also in emotions and pain.
Like, the lawyers make money because it's their job. The judge makes money because it's their job. They're not pulling you in just for funsies.
And
the judge gets paid whether or not you're guilty or innocent. I don't know if you know that. Flower crown, can do. Also, don't think they get paid by the hour, so.
The courts, again, because it's like for-profit prison, right? Sometimes there's real cases of abuse of children, and in these cases, I don't think anybody argues that sometimes it's required to intervene, right? Some children really are, but a lot of times there is not, and they will...
I don't even know if I'd say most of the time. I do not think most of the time CPS is taking away kids for no reason. Let me look for my flower crown. Where to go? I found it. Whew.
Manufacture falsehoods to support these court cases and take away the children to, feed that monster money machine. Okay? Just like for-profit prison. They will manufacture situations.
For-profit prison is for-profit. For-profit prison in the United States literally exists as a way to make profit. The thing you're describing does not. I think there was also a hydrate.
To feed them more money. Okay? So, if you're a citizen, say in that example of Canada and Ontario, you're only a citizen of these states, well, you have no choice. You are at their mercy because they consider you, because the way their system is set up is you are their slave. Now...
No, you're a citizen, though. Even if you weren't a citizen, frankly, you're in the jurisdiction of that state. So they have jurisdiction over you. If I fly to France and commit a crime, just because I'm not from there doesn't mean I'm not under the authority of French law because I'm in their jurisdiction.
I say there because not all states are structured that way, and that's the case of Teaos. And Teaos...
I've not seen the new Superman show yet. We watched a clip earlier, though, and it looked good.
It's not like that. The people are not slaves of Teaos. Actually, Teaos is a slave of the people there. Okay, so it's organized differently. So, but in their states, you're their slave. The courts will decide whatever they want to decide, and you will pay the price. If the agents, the CPS agents, decide to lie, or DYP agents decide to lie and manufacture falsehoods, false facts...
It's always interesting, too, how non-specific he is about his own case. What specific facts are you saying that CPS or whoever made up about you and your kids? Weird that you're vague about it.
That's right, they lie, and we know it happens because we have proof of some of our people where it happened.
Where? Show it.
They lie and they manufacture false facts. And then they take children away and they're all happy. Well, you suffer hell, they don't care. They couldn't care less. Right?
I mean, if they feel that you're abusing your kids, they're probably happy. I don't think they don't care. They probably think they're happy about it. Maybe not even happy. They're just glad that they could get a kid out of a bad situation if that's how they feel about it. I don't think they're ambivalent. I don't think they're like, whatever. Like, okay, maybe they're a little like, oh, this sucks, I have a shitty job, but also, maybe I helped that kid, but also the system is fucked. But I don't think they just don't care at all.
And let's be honest, CPS agent is like the bottom of the barrel of jobs. Let's be honest, okay? I don't know for you guys, when you were in high school and, you know, the
I feel like social workers get enough shit.
top grades of the class, whoever was the top, like, class president or whatever, I don't remember any of them saying, you know what, I get first pick for my job. Oh man, I'm so lucky, I'm totally gonna become a CPS agent.
Right. People who do social work often are not compensated well, and they also have some of the highest burnout rates and self-deletion rates by career, because it is a job that will grind you down. You have to be a pretty particular kind of person to want to and be able to do that kind of work. Like, I imagine it's really, really difficult, the things you have to see every day and the things that you just can't do anything about. Pickled Alien says, I worked with CPS and they were extremely overworked, often overlooking cases even if they were warranted. Due to biases, leniency was often granted to white, middle-class, wealthy families. In general, though, the state always worked towards reunification, even if I disagreed with their decision for the safety of the child. Marcus Drake with Bits says, thanks for the rabbit hole. Historians and etymologists say the exact origin of the word is uncertain, but the, Mandinka, the largest ethnic group in modern Ghana, word, Mamajombu, probably butchered that, sorry, which is reference to a masked male dancer who took part in religious ceremonies, is often cited as the source. The OED has its first attested in 1738, and Europeans described the persona as settling domestic community disputes. By late 19th, early 20th century, it got the modern meaning as incomprehensible. Weird. Weird how language, like, changes over time.
Of course not. And they go doctor, they go, I don't know, lawyer, ironically. But no, CPS agent, a DYP CPS agent is usually the bottom of the barrel, is the last resort job. They're usually not the brightest. Dead-end job.
Jesus Christ. You're a social worker or whatever. I'm so sorry.
They hate their jobs usually, and, you know, we basically put some of the dumbest people on earth in charge of families and children.
Everyone else we put on the internet. That's how I wound up here. Him too.
As a society, it's ridiculous, but that's how it is. Okay. So now, again, as I said, if they gave you a judgment and you're stuck in the hell of their courts, you have no recourse. Their courts are corrupt, and you may ask for an appeal, a review, they're still going to be corrupt.
Have you considered that in this case you're just wrong?
As much as they want to, there's nothing you can do. Okay? So basically, again, you have the state, the country, in this case Canada.
It's a helpful diagram.
And then the parties to the case, right? So so you have that. Now, what Teaos can do? Well.
Oh, that was it? That was the whole graphic. I was making a joke. I thought it was going to expand. No, that really was it. Oh. That's a poor use of a graphic.
Teaos is, you have to understand something. In law, if you become a citizen of Teaos, right? All of a sudden, you become, it's like, you become part of Teaos. Basically, now you have...
What does that even mean in a metaphysical way? Oh, he's got another circle.
A little Teaos.
There it is. It's in his hand. He's got the whole Teaos in his hand. He's got the whole Teaos in his hand.
On your shoulder at all times. Always helping you. Always there. So,
remember when George Washington made a YouTube video explaining his sovereignty with bad graphics?
If you become a citizen of Teaos, all of a sudden, Teaos gain, and they have you in their courts. Like Canada, you're in, like, I don't know, some court of Ontario, right? Well, now Teaos has jurisdiction. So now, as a citizen...
No, you don't, because no one recognizes you. No one recognizes you as an independent state. I assume you did the thing, as it looks like from your website. It seems like you tried to do the bullshit land patent thing, and also tried to send in some paperwork to the Canadian government saying a bunch of bullshit. Just because they didn't respond to you doesn't mean you win. That's not how the law works, you idiot. You are going to get arrested in Canada because Teaos only exists not in any of the provinces of Canada, but only in the state of delusion in which you spend your life.
In the Teaos, you have
Harold Elwelman with 24 months says, 2 years came to Twitch for Hannah, no regrets. Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you for 2 whole years.
the right to file to the Chancery Courts of Teaos for a writ of certiorari, right? Otherwise called a judicial review, or any other case, right? This is legal courts, just like any other. And you can
even like with other countries, like the United States and Canada, let's say. The United States and Canada have specific agreements surrounding extradition for when and how they will extradite and for what reasons. Like, this is something that is individually generally negotiated between countries in treaties and other things, or informal agreements. But you have done none of that. You just think you're gonna call Canada. Where in Canada? You think you're just gonna call, like, Canada on the phone? And it's gonna be like, hello, this is Canada. No. What do you think you're gonna do? What are you gonna file? Like, I don't think there's an official form for, like, are you from a made-up country? Put your information so we can release this insane people that, sorry, I shouldn't say insane. I'm trying to stop saying insane and crazy and stuff. For all the people who sign up for your nonsense website.
file it. Now, here's what you need to know. In law, in international law, all states are equal. No matter how rich and powerful they are in commerce, in their success, in their commercial success, in law, all states are equal. So,
really? You think all states are equal on the, like, international, like playing field? Then why did Russia invade Ukraine? Why did they invade Crimea years ago in 2014? Why did the United States invade Iraq? Why did the United States invade Afghanistan? Why did the United States invade Vietnam? Why did the French invade Vietnam? Why did Japan invade China? Like, how do you think this works? Do you think states don't impose power on other smaller states? Which, by the way, isn't even a relevant talking point here, because you're still not a country. You're just a guy on the internet.
Canada courts are equal to Teaos courts. None is stronger than the other.
Good luck with that. I wish you luck. Your understanding of the legal system appears to be based upon the opening title sequence for Rocky IV.
They are equal.
Get it? He used his fists as a visual metaphor, so it has to be true.
So the courts of Teaos are equal to the courts of Canada. The Superior Court of Teaos is equal to the...
How's your army versus Canada's army? Just curious. Like, just for reference, how many jet aircraft do you have, and how many does Canada have? I'm guessing yours rounds down to somewhere approximating 0. I'm assuming Canada's is more than 0. Also, they have Wolverine, so no fuck with them.
The Federal Court of Canada or the Superior Court of some province or whatever, they're equal. The Superior Court of Teaos is an equal to the Superior Court of Canada.
I want to press X to doubt.
So their judgments are equal. That's very significant. So now you're a citizen of Teaos and you file for judicial review or some other case matter into Teaos. Now what happens is that where it was only, I don't know, like Canada.
Wolverine is a state agent, though. Has Wolverine never been on Alpha Flight? Genuinely shocking to me. Has he never once been in Alpha Flight? Because that's bizarre.
And the parties, now Teaos adds to the mix. So now...
Oh, look. Oh, he did add. Look, it's a triangle now, so he thinks that this means something. I don't even think he centered this correctly. Am I crazy? Maybe it's just an optical illusion because he's in the frame. Maybe that is centered. I don't know. I think the arrows are kind of overlapping on the bottom.
Now you have Canada, Teaos, and the parties. And it becomes...
He started in an Alpha Flight chronologically. I thought something like that happened because he was developed during, you know... I don't even remember what it was called with Stryker. The thing where they, you know, made him adamantium bones.
A ménage à trois. Ménage à trois. So they're all of a sudden.
Weapon X, but wasn't there a larger name? Because he wasn't the only weapon. Like, he was Weapon X, but there are other weapon programs, right? Am I wrong?
Both states have jurisdiction on this.
They don't. You have no jurisdiction. You have no power. You have no soft power, hard power. Your power is zero. You got nothing.
Same manner. So now it's a fight of courts. And now it becomes a fight of facts. And most
A fight of facts.
essentially it becomes a fight of justice. So now you had a judgment, say, from the Court of Ontario, taking your kids away. But maybe it's garbage, maybe it's full of injustice, and usually it is. You have a lot of rights that they don't give because they're corrupt. Well, now you go to Teaos, and Teaos does a judicial review, or certiorari, right? And they find...
Like, this is insane. Like, basically the way he thinks this works, you think that, let's say, I don't know, let's say Canada saw a court decision in the United States they don't like. You think Canada can judicially review an American case? That's not what those words mean. That's not how anything works. What are you talking about? Other countries can't go to other countries and be like, I disagree with you, so you have to stop, because our law says you're wrong. They're sovereign nations. Even if you were a sovereign nation, you wouldn't have that power, but you're not even that. What are you doing?
An injustice. So Teaos judges, for example, to quash the order of the Court of Ontario. Well, now...
Why does your law supersede Canada's? Why in the world would you think that? The law isn't magic.
The Teaos judgment in law is the superior and effective judgment.
Because he said so.
So that other judgment, that garbage judgment, is gone.
It's garbage because he doesn't like it.
So if that judgment of Ontario said they can take your kids away, well now, I don't know, for example, maybe they did...
You couldn't even get the government of Ontario to give your kids back. Why do you think you can get them to give anyone else's kids back?
With injustice. Because if they do it with justice, there's nothing Teaos can do. Teaos cannot undo justice. If it was just, if it's...
He's, of course, the arbiter of what is considered justice, but let's not talk about that.
Honest, Teaos can't do anything. Teaos can only undo injustice. So if they were unjust, then Teaos can fix it. But if they were just and it really was abuse, there's nothing Teaos can do. Okay, so we can only... It's a fight of justice. So if they use the injustice to take your kids away, and Teaos does a judicial review and finds it that it was full of injustice, and this court is quashed, it's void. It quashes the other. Now you have an order in law that says that the other order is null. So now if they have to give you back.
That's not how law works. Law in one country doesn't affect the laws in a different country. How could you not understand this?
Your children.
Like, I think this is something that people understand intuitively without even thinking about it. People know that laws are different in different countries and they don't affect each other. Discordant Vol says, it's always this, isn't it? Losing custody. Oh yeah, it's a big part of it.
Because the order that gained them, basically justification to take away your children is garbage. It's gone. Now they have to give you back your children right now. And if they...
You need to give me back my children because the man on the internet who says he's a judge said so.
Don't. They're criminals. Actually, they may...
Wait, hold on. I can one-up this. Where do I have the thing somewhere? Hold on. I need my prop. Okay. Hold on. I am wearing the official queen hat of our great nation. Today I deem this great nation Hanatopia. I am the queen here. And I, as a sovereign nation, have decreed that Teaos doesn't exist. And my law is super duper awesome cool law squared to infinity times 3. No takebacks, no one-ups. So I win, Teaos is dissolved, and you never get your kids back. Court is adjourned, bring in the dancing lobsters. That's binding. I was wearing the hat. take that hat seriously.
If it's depending on the manner that the other judgment is quashed, it could be quashed from the...
Oh, god damn it, Hanada is better. Okay, court back in session. It's now called Hanada. Court out of session, it's Hanada. End.
The beginning. That would mean that all the time that they held the kids, they were basically kidnappers. They're not CPS agents or DYP agents anymore. No, they become kidnappers, potentially terrorism in some cases.
How are you making that distinction? Just curious how your mind works.
So, terrorists. So now they have to give you back your kids right away. And if they don't comply, they're criminal. So now Teaos, the criminal courts of Teaos can emit a warrant, can issue an arrest warrant on these criminals, the DYP agents, CPS agents, the police officers, even in some cases, if they lose judicial immunity.
Who are you gonna get to do these warrants? Who are you gonna get to arrest these people and extradite them to your bullshit fake state? You gonna send that to a judge in Canada and you think they're gonna be like, this seems very official. Bailiff, arrest whoever this is. That's not how this works. That's not how anything works. If this is the kind of shit you were teaching your kids, no wonder they were taken away. They are better off. Discordant Voles says, you ever felt powerless in the face of the monolithic bureaucracy that is the government? Well, I have the solution. Simply join my nation under my eternal throne. Your ego will stop yelling at you and you'll finally be free. Don't expect me to actually get your kids back.
The attorneys and judges of the other case. And they can be arrested, tried criminally, depending on how you go. Okay, so they have to give you back your kids. And it's done. Okay, so that's very important because now we have dual jurisdiction. Now, maybe Teaos did things wrong. Maybe. So now, maybe Courts of Ontario will come back and do another review, and then they stand on top. And then maybe they did more injustice, and Teaos can... So it's like a fight of facts until we end up to the point where nobody can undo the other work because it becomes perfect.
Just like my no-takesy backsies times 3 cubed to infinity. He gets it. We're operating under the same logic here. I would go as far to say that he and I have the exact same amount of authority over the government of Canada. We're both equally legitimate. I might be a little bit more legitimate. I have a queen hat. It's not a crown, chat. In the state of Canada, it's called a queen hat. Even if I were to die and a king were to take over, it's still a queen hat. So it is written.
It becomes truth in law. It's basically just. It's a just judgment, and that's the last one. It ends there, and that's the effective one. Okay, so let's presume here that Teaos' judgment is the last. Again, they have to give you back your kids. They do. And if they don't, they're criminal. And they have to give you...
Criminal. Straight to jail. All of Canada. I hereby decree Canada is a very bad boy and needs to go sit in the corner until he learns to not kidnap children. Bad Canada. Do better.
And then there can be an issue, an arrest warrant, and they can be arrested. There can be a search warrant, and to go get the kids. And
a search warrant is for searches.
Any time of night, tearing down any fricking door if they have to.
Does Hannah allow OTC trading of bankrupt securities, asking for a friend? All of them except for Bed Bath & Beyond. Just to make a point. We're the only place in the world you can trade your Sears stock. Actually, I don't want to do that. Do you know how many insufferable finance bros are going to show up? No. In fact, stock trading is banned in Canada. Fennec Gami says, it's so amazing how much right-wing bullshit is wrapped up in male insecurities like divorce or how unfuckable they are. You know, aside from the stuff that isn't wrapped up in undiagnosed mental illness, if boys just got therapy, it'll fix so much shit. I sincerely think that we're gonna look back well, not like us individually necessarily, but in hindsight it feels like to me that for people in the future it's gonna be so clear our mental health crisis is the, root of a lot of our problems. And it's just something we absolutely refuse to do anything about. It's paid lip service when there's, mass shootings in the United States, and then nothing happens. We don't even care enough in the United States to give people body health care, much less, mental health care. Oh. Spongy Lord with 26 months says, boop. Boop right back at ya. Thank you very much for your subscription.
Teaos police will have their warrant, and they'll tear down the door at 3 a.m. in the morning of wherever the kids are, take the kids. If anybody interferes, they can be arrested for obstruction of justice. Anyone, including the OPP, might come around and, oh, what's your problem? We're not going to let you take the kids. Here's the warrant. Stand out of the way, and if you interfere, it's obstruction of justice, and these officers, because they don't have jurisdiction in Teaos, can be arrested.
That's not how that works. If you try and arrest Canadian police officers, you will be the one kidnapping, and you will get whatever the Canadian version of a SWAT team is sent to your house. Discordant Vol says, you see my ruling, my ruling is an immediate interrupt, which places it on the top of the stack. Also, it has the split-second mechanic, which means that nothing can be placed on the stack after it. Mono blue, baby. That felt like a Magic the Gathering bit I don't get.
For obstruction of justice, tried criminally. All of them. And then your children are brought back to your home, and you get them back. So, I don't know if you understand the power that this has. Okay, so this is extremely real in law. Now, how it works, well, there's different ways how it works. Like, first of all, you have to understand, you must be a Teaos citizen, okay? So, because as long as you're not a Teaos citizen, Teaos has no power. Teaos does not have the right to interfere with other states, not without...
Oh, except all the things you just said, because that is doing that.
Jurisdiction. So, if you're a 100% Canadian, well, Teaos cannot jump in. Canada has the right to...
Gitara says, I wish to make the pilgrimage to Canada one day to see the great Cathedral of Paul. Legend says that the cathedral was once the stronghold of the misled souls who worshipped the god of Los thrice by. Oh, I get it. God damn it. Quiet 185, thanks for 31 months. And kicking off a hype train. 75% to level 1.
Judge. Right? Nothing you can do. So you have to become a Teaos citizen. Once you're a Teaos citizen, you file. We have the form.
Sorry, I just noticed the first time chat. Footlover1986 says hi. So feet, huh?
We're going to prepare all these forms as the state develops, and you can file for a court request, a certiorari, right, or a judicial review, and then the court will begin. Now the court has multiple ways it can operate.
Stone Corbell says, imagine if this really happened, if just armed mercenaries from this guy's compound go out and try to steal kids and arrest government agents and police. He would find out very quickly how not sovereign Teaos is, right? I wonder if this guy and Marcel have ever talked to each other, because they're very similar and they're both in Canada. I know Canada's a big place. Like, I don't know everyone in America, but you know, they're in similar subgroups of internet, so it's possible.
Depending on the cases. If required, the court can meet live. We may summon a court in a building somewhere, and there will be a hearing, and everybody presents, and then Teaos will proceed with a judge and everybody, the clerk, and everybody else. In other cases, we can actually do the hearings on a Zoom meeting. Perfectly valid. It's
cute that you think that the courts of Canada would even take 1 second of their precious time to talk to you. You mean nothing to them. Discordant Vol says, such degeneracy, the internationally recognized unit of length is the meter! 84% to level 1.
On the Zoom meeting, we meet there, and then the judge will be there, and then, you know, do the hearings, and then proceed to the order. It's also possible in some cases to do it by certified judgment of unrebutted affidavit, and then that means that you would prepare an affidavit. You have to say the truth. It has to be the truth on penalty.
That's good. Telling people not to commit perjury is good.
Perjury. Now that's very serious, because lying on penalty of perjury is a criminal act, a very serious one too. So it's akin to murder. Okay, so
I think it's a felony. I don't think it's a felony on the level of murder.
But you tell the truth on penalty of perjury, and then you serve all the other parties, and then they have 21 days to answer on penalty of perjury also. So CPS agent, police officers, even the attorneys, the other part, everybody has to answer. And if they do, well, you know, we bounce like that until we get the truth. If they don't, or at the point where they don't, when it becomes unrebutted, then we have the truth on penalty of perjury. And on this truth, respect.
Just because someone,
doctrine of
just because someone writes an affidavit doesn't mean the court has to assume it's 100% true. That affidavit is going to be interrogated. The statements made in it are going to be interrogated. But again, it doesn't even matter because none of this is in real courts. Like, I don't even, like, it's annoying me that I keep getting pulled into the minutia of explaining these specific things when it doesn't even matter, because in the first place, you're not a court with any power, you're not even a country, you're just a guy on the internet, and none of this means anything. Discordant Vol, thanks for gifting a sub. 13% to level 2.
Alterum partem. All parties have been heard, because that's their testimony. Right, the chance to answer that affidavit is your testimony. They have to reply, to respond, and it's their testimony. Once nobody answers, then we have the truth. The final testimony of all sides have been given a chance to be heard, and on this truth, the court can adjudicate without ever meeting on Zoom. We have the judge will just use the affidavit, review the documents. You'll have to present, of course, your orders and all your judgments from the court of, say, Ontario in this case, and the judge of Teaos will review everything and then issue the judgment. And this judgment, as I said, once it is admitted, becomes order in law, superseding any other.
No, it doesn't.
And you can take that judgment of Teaos, you file it in Ontario, you serve the other part.
I'm just imagining the poor person who's working at the Ontario courthouse who has to deal with, like, the filings and stuff, looking at this shit and just being like, oh God, is the pension worth it? Is the pension worth it? Is the pension worth it?
And that is the effective judgment. After that, we can act in law. If they don't listen,
I did forget to put Boxy back up, didn't I?
Depending on the circumstances, it may be a criminal act on their part. So, extremely
Discordant Vol says it really feels like their main focus is you have to treat me like I matter. Yeah.
Powerful. Teaos not only will absolutely undo injustice. So now the other states of the world, they now have to be careful. They have to be just. And I do clarify, a judge that is fair and just has nothing to fear. An attorney that is fair and just has nothing to fear. Police officers that are operating fair and just have nothing to fear.
He thinks he's bargaining, or like he's... it's so weird watching people think they have authority when they don't.
Nobody has anything to fear. Who has something to fear is those that use crime, which is injustice and fraud and all these other types of dark arts of the law to gain an advantage. Most
Are you telling me that the defense against the dark art classes was just pre-law?
Likely a commercial advantage to get rich. Now these people are committing a crime, but as long as they have nobody to call them out on it, they're free. They were free to go all this time. Well, now not anymore. Now at any time that they use corruption and fraud in a court case to achieve something,
as defined by him, of course.
They never know at which moment the courts of Teaos will jump in, undo it all, and they may end up in prison for life, depending on whatever you...
What prison? Teaos has 0 prisons!
The criminal trial will decide, right? They have to go to the trial, of course. They'll be indicted, tried, and convicted. If convicted, it can be pretty severe. So now, Teaos not only can undo injustice anywhere around the world, anytime. If your children have been kidnapped, if you're in prison because you unjustly you spoke your mind and you said the truth and they don't like, you're a whistleblower, whatever, your rights have been trampled, Teaos can help you. But of course it always starts, you need to become a citizen of Teaos. It's required. We need jurisdiction, otherwise we can't do anything. Okay? But we can undo injustice around the world, and like I said, it also pushes other states of the world to increase their need to be just. All of a sudden they have an incentive to offer justice because they never know when they're going to be
Judges all around the world will be afraid of me and my micronation, which has no budget to do anything and no authority. Discordant Vol says, sorry, feeling verbose tonight. You're good. 22% to level 2 with 30 seconds.
Counter adjudicated or quashed by Teaos for being unfair. So we're changing the world, guys. This is very real in law.
Very real, guys.
This is very real. We're changing the...
It's real. You have to say that often when things are real. You have to repeat multiple times. This is real. This is for sure real, guys.
World, thanks to Teaos. So again, if you have issues with any injustice, or if you know anybody that has any problem with injustice, unjust judgment, their children have been kidnapped and it's absolutely unfair.
Thanks for the level 1 hype, everyone.
Teaos, talk to them. Show them this video, and then if they decide they can immigrate, and then we can start the process of the court matter, and we'll undo this injustice, and we're going to undo the legal tyranny. We can and we will. That's why we built it. Teaos was in large part built to undo legal tyranny because we can. Okay? Thanks, everyone.
I can't believe he really believes that. That's kinda nuts, if I'm being honest. That's pretty strange. Let me... Where is that? There it is. Real quick, I'm going to use the bathroom and then be back to continue with more Sovereign Sit weirdness. In the meantime, let's put something on for you guys. Discordant Vol says, man, the plot of Metal Gear Canada is really weird. True. God damn, what are the PP show people even doing? What are they talking about at this point? I will be right back. What am I gonna put on? Something relatively quick. Okay, watch this.
Get in, losers. We're going carbonating. 64 ounces of ketchup. I had the time of my life. It's so much ketchup. And... oh, it did it right away. It's too thick, so we're gonna mix in a little bit of water to, you know, get this carbonation carbonated. It's still too thick. Come on, you're making me look like a fool in front of everyone. The third time's the charm. Nothing. What the heck? It's still super thick. We need to water it down even more.
What's in the sink?
Mind your business. It doesn't go together. It makes it taste like it's like rancid. You wouldn't be drinking ketchup on its own anyway, would you? Here, hold on. I gotta give it the old onion ring dunk test. I don't enjoy the fizziness at all. It's pretty bad. Tomato fizz is just not my cup of tea. I'm gonna have to give this like a 1 out of 5.
Bop, 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 bop. Yeah, that's not surprising. Okay, what next? How about this sovereign citizen trying to arrest a judge? Maybe the State of Teaos guy can take a look at this video and see how it turns out when random people who read too much of the internet and take it too seriously try to assert authority over a judge.
Stand down under the bill of...
It's hard to hear, but once he stands up, you'll get the idea.
Please leave me alone because you stand under the crown with that crown on your badge. You're standing under the crown, the royal seal. Judge Bochner, you are now charged under section 80.1 of the Criminal Code Act because you don't have an applicant. You are trading in necromancy. You are treating dead people in this courtroom, and so is Mr. Mark Douglas Murray.
The necromancy thing comes from the fact that they think that there's a straw man version of yourself that exists only on paper as a legal entity, distinct and separate from yourself, and that by making this dead person alive by using them in court, the judges are doing necromancy. If that doesn't make sense to you, congratulations. You can probably put off a CAT scan for a little bit longer. Yeah, it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
You've been charged for perjury. Most importantly, you do not have a copyright from the First Nation people, and the Parliament of South Australia have recognised the First Nations. You are in treason. You are in treason. You must stand down under the Bill of Rights 1688 now. We're calling the Australian Federal Police. You can leave. You can leave the courtroom.
This has gone to Interpol. Everything has gone overseas now to the United Nations.
You are concealing crimes against South Australia. You have now removed South Australia from the national referendum under that crown, and you are standing underneath. You do not have a governor. You do not have a writ. You must stand down under the Bill of Rights. We claim the court and we are seeking...
Discordant Vol says, wait, no, tulpamancy.
Orders of this matter have now been dismissed because of treason and breaches of Section 80.1. We want the record for the Australian Federal Police. This is now a federal matter. Section 80.1 of the Criminal Code Act 1995.
Ooh, my allergic reaction from electrolysis is happening. Can you guys see it? Starting to get really red. My face is itchy and hot.
Thank you. Court adjourned. Thank you. I need an order. No, Section 80.1 has been recognised in the court. We need all your names, by the way.
Look, Stephen, it's Teaos. What does that mean?
We need names of all these people. We need an order. This matter is now being closed for the treason in Section 80.1.
He's just declaring his case closed.
Need an order.
Genius. Your straw man summon actually deals axiomatic damage.
Sorry, can I have your name too? Is this a court or what? So who do you stand under? Who do you guys stand under?
We stand under Australia and under the retreat oath by our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese.
I like when this happens in Australia, because really everyone seems more just confused and annoyed more than anything.
Stephen, where's the barricades?
Yeah, I've heard Baldur's Gates 3 is excellent. My next game is that I'm going to be getting into is Starfield. Early next month. I'm gonna wait for a sale in the future someday for Baldur's Gate.
Need to change work. He's a criminal. He's changed job. And he's lying. He's using the wrong name in the wrong courthouse and trying to say he's a barrister with no oath of allegiance to the king.
Is that like his actual lawyer? Because that'd be hilarious.
You have to acknowledge it, guys. This is a courtroom.
Names to say we have got the
That's amazing.
Oh, it's full of people too.
Job, mate.
Lovely. It's always good to make a fool of yourself in front of as many people as possible. Oh, this guy's one of those First Amendment auditor types, but this guy's genuinely one of the most annoying ones, I think.
I get a lot of complaints, and my people are probably going to push for you to lose your job. I'm just letting you know. Okay, she don't care. What? Huh? Yeah, I mean, you might, so...
No one takes you seriously.
Police told you not to talk to me? Well, that's not good, because if I need help, you guys have to help me, right? You have to talk to me.
That's what he told me, so sorry, I cannot respond to you.
Well, you have to help me if I need help. You have to, that's your job.
Not if you're causing a disturbance, then they can tell you to leave. He thinks he's so badass, too. You need help, alright.
Yeah, protect that stuff.
Yeah, it might have documents that have people's personal information on it that they don't want on camera, and it's their job to make sure that kind of stuff isn't shown publicly.
I've been turned over before, huh? I'm just taking some pictures. That's it. Huh? Oh, I'm doing a story.
You are not a journalist. You're a jackass.
The DA's office. Yep. I can't give that information. It could compromise the integrity of the story.
It'll compromise the integrity of the story, aka you'll look up my channel and see my entire job is based around harassing public employees. So, if I let you look me up, you'll call the police immediately. But I need content so people will watch my bullshit.
So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, thank you. Okay, I understand that. I'm not going back there. I can't go back there. I get it. There's a door.
You ever see, like, if you're, I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're a public employee and someone like this is harassing you, and, like, you know, it's one thing if you're a cop, you know? Cops, you have the right to film them in their duties. It varies by state. Some have specific distances. Some just give the discretion to the cop that you're not interfering, so that can be more subjective. But, like, people like this just go into, like, you know, the post office and stuff and fuck with people, and they're assholes. So if you ever see one of these people and you want to fuck with them, and you want to make them mad because they're just trying to make money off of being assholes on the internet, that's my job. No, you can play, like, Disney songs. Like, pull out your phone and open Spotify and put on a playlist of, like, the soundtrack to Frozen or something, and play it next to them so it picks up the audio, because they won't be able to monetize that.
Yeah, so I can't go back there. I get that. Yeah. So I don't understand what, like, the meaning of what you just said.
Cops do that too. That's why I specifically said fuck cops for doing that, because you have a right to film cops.
It's a secured office.
You have a right to film cops in public, I should specify, in the line of their duty.
Gotcha. I don't know why you're telling me. I know it's secured. It has a door. Well, that's okay. There's a window here. Huh? I understand that. Yeah.
So because something is publicly funded, do you think you can go wherever you want? Do you think you can walk onto a military base and go wherever you want and film whatever you want? You think that would go well for you? Or do you just want to go pick on people who are public employees somewhere like the post office because you think you can get away with it?
There should be no issue with it. I mean, that's why I was wondering. I mean, that's part of the story, is like, why is all that, like, left out like that?
It's literally not. It's behind the counter, and you're filming behind the counter like a psycho.
I know, but they walk.
Then they'll just mute the audio and caption it with more lies, I guess, or use an AI voice to manipulate it. It's still better to make it more difficult for them.
Away, right? They walked away, and you got what you consider confidential information left out wide open for anybody to see. So when you're standing here and assisting them, they wouldn't be able to see what's left out like that?
Most people don't feel the need to be like, what's on your desk? You're behind a window, but can I film what's behind your desk? Because most people aren't antisocial. Most people don't feel the need to go out of their way to annoy people and harass them for no reason.
Well, without even doing that, I can just look around. It's real simple. So, that's,
okay, then we're going to ask you to leave because you're looking for, like, private information. Get out.
Yeah, that's at this point, that's part of it, is like, why is stuff left out in the open like that?
Oh my God.
I mean? It is. I could see it. That's in the open. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw did they finally officially drop, or was it the leak? Because I did see the alleged leak of the charges. Did they finally actually come out?
So, anyways, alright. Thank you. I don't give it. No. Thank you, bye. Oh, what an attitude there. Alright, so we have more.
I hope that leak is true. That's all I'll say. But I will wait for official confirmation. But if it is that, that's pretty awesome.
Confidential information not out in the open. This is definitely not left out in the open right here. Crazy.
RICO stands for, like, Racketeering, Influencing Corrupt Organizations Act or something. It's what they used in The Dark Knight to get all of Maroni's people off the streets. until they could pass the Harvey Dent law, or whatever they called it, the Dent Act. Basically, it was created to fight organized crime.
Oh, okay, so then it shouldn't matter. What was the argument about it not being left in the open? Just pictures. You don't. I mean, I don't need it.
Like, they're literally just like laughing at him. Like, you can tell they're like, "What is this guy's problem? Like, does this guy understand that he's a laughing stock?"
Anything from you guys? I'm taking pictures. That's it. It's that simple. Nothing from you guys at all. But she was starting to make an argument that it's a secured office and this stuff is not left in the open. And
Michigan Governor Rick Snyder almost caught RICO charges for the Flint issue. He should have. He's a piece of shit that has ruined people's lives. Discordant Vol says, isn't this a crime, intentionally recording personal information like that? You'd think.
And stuff like that, so. You can ask, I don't have to answer. So. I know, and I did. And so. Yeah. Oh, Lake County District Attorney.
Pretty good. You can get some of the window. Oh, these guys, I guess this will be good footage.
He just wants a confrontation. Yep. They got you pegged. Just letting you know. That's exactly what you're doing, and everyone sees it because it's transparent.
He's so rude, she says, and they said he just wants a confrontation. When they confronted me, and they were being rude to me. That's the funny part.
Can I help you with something?
No, I'm good. Appreciate you.
Any reason you're taking pictures of our yard?
Excuse me?
Any reason you're taking pictures of your yard? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I got a reason for sure. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't have a reason, right?
Just curious.
Yep.
So you know this is a secured area.
Okay, cool.
So we can't really have you here unless I have to call the police. Are you here on any kind of official business or anything?
Yeah, I'm here on my official business, yeah.
He's such a child. I'm here on my official
And that
business.
makes this a highly secured area.
It is, yeah.
Awesome.
Imagine him, but with lumpy space princess's voice. Yeah, I'm here on my official business, Scott.
Well, that's cool.
Because we have a break-in lately, and they're watching. That's all.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, especially in this area.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not doing anything wrong, just taking pictures.
No, I know. But for an article.
Like I said, I'm doing a story, yeah.
You're doing a story. For an
You're not doing a story, you're being a dick.
Up and print them and show you. It's the same thing. There's no.
It's not a story if the story is look at me being a dick to people and them reacting to me being a dick. That's not a story. You're just being a dick.
This is the only way to stop a foreclosure.
Oh, God.
The first thing you gotta do.
No, this is not true, whatever he's about to say. This is gonna be some soft set bullshit. Don't listen to it. GamerG says some of these guys are so annoying I'm tempted to tell them, you know what the government really doesn't want you to audit? Top secret military bases. You go try to film there, buddy. Oh, they know. That's why they go to the post office. They know.
Is create a trust. The second thing you have to do is follow that trust at City Hall. And the final stage is understanding what a mortgage is. When you're at the stage of foreclosure, all the bank is arguing is that you breached your fiduciary agreement when you signed the promissory note. When they start the foreclosure process, all they're stating is that you violated the terms of your agreement. A breach of fiduciary duty is when someone has a responsibility to act and fails to do so. So when you got your mortgage, you signed a promissory note. But here's what attorneys won't tell you, is that during...
Oh, God. Here's what attorneys won't tell you. You know, attorneys like to make money, so if there was a secret way to do this, they'd tell you, holy shit, my face is getting red. Do you see this fucking reaction? Oh. Let's get this on full cam. Woo! That's unfortunate. Getting closer with electrolysis, though, so that's nice.
This foreclosure
I will
process,
soon have no hair on my face, and it will be beautiful.
the bank has to prove.
Discordant Vol says, these people know that their presence aggravates and unsettles people, especially in the era of stochastic terrorism. Eventually someone will confront them and they'll be intentionally obtuse to further aggravate them.
That they actually sent you any money.
Thanks, Aaron.
Once you understand this, you can countersue or make a counterclaim that
good luck with
the
that.
bank breached their fiduciary duty because they never gave you money in the first place. So how can you pay something or repay a debt when they never gave you anything? So once you...
They gave you the house. They gave you the money to buy the house. As someone who's gone through the mortgage process, you go to the bank with like statements that show how much money you make. Like for me, tax statements, because I am an independent contractor, but other people I think can take pay stubs, something like that. I don't know. Either way, they figure out if they want to lend you money and how much based on your income to debt ratio. Then they're going to give you like a printout that basically says like, hey, we the bank, I forget what it's called, but basically we the bank will give you this much money for a loan. And then you can take that and go look at houses, because sometimes real estate agents and stuff won't make an appointment with you unless you already have this pre-approval thing to make sure that, you know, you're not going to waste their time. And you're not just like a looky-loo. Anyway, so then you pick the house, and then, you know, the agent deals with it. But basically, the bank is paying for the house to whoever is selling it. And then saying, all right, you can live in this house that we bought you, but you have to pay us back over 10, 15, 30 years, whatever the terms of your mortgage are. What they gave you was the money to buy the house that you are now allowed to live in while you pay it off back to them with interest. What do you mean they didn't give you anything? Where do you think you got the house? Discordant Vol says, promissory note.
You understand that, you put your house in a trust, you understand this process, and you really understand it's estate embezzlement, then your house becomes secure, and look at the results. As you can see here, I have at the bottom, right here, that the plaintiff, who's Deutsche Bank, who's been charged with fraud multiple times by the federal government.
I would imagine most banks have been charged with that at some point. Banks are very large entities.
The plaintiff files the instant complaint to rescind the foreclosure sale and revert ownership of the property to the defendant. And you see the defendants here above are my mother and father. For more information, visit riseofthemoors.org. I also have a video on our YouTube channel, which you can find at riseofthemoors.org, where my parents and I sit down and talk about this process. It started around 2019, and
it pisses me off because, like, if someone's in a situation where they're going to lose their house or potentially lose their house, that's a serious situation, and there might be resources out there for them to actually try and stop it, or get in contact with some sort of organization that provides funds for, like, litigation for these people or helps find solutions or whatever. Instead, they wind up in the hands of grifters who want to lie to them about things that aren't going to work, and they inevitably lose their homes, and it is so sad.
The state that are copulated.
I'm probably going to save this one for next time. I can put it in the Sovereign Sith folder. Cool.
Okay.
No. Pretty sure we already watched this guy. Very blurry man. That's just the fraud guy. I don't know, maybe let's go out with this. This is only 4 minutes.
He's already getting the tape. Hilarious. Yeah, establish your crime scene, fat boy, and then we'll do whatever you want.
YouTube has brought about this new generation of cop watchers.
I'm telling you right now, you're interfering with our crime scene.
Some of them call themselves First Amendment auditors.
Come on! Here, hold this. Come on, come arrest me.
Be sort of a fly on the wall and bear witness and hold the police accountable.
Right here.
Which one?
I think it's great to film the police and hold them accountable. The problem with many of these people, unfortunately, is that's not their main goal. Their main goal is to cause drama. I'm talking people like Chili DeCastro. I'm sure there are people out there who really just want to make sure the police are held accountable. But I think most of them just want attention and money on the internet.
This one right
Just
here?
based on the sampling of ones I have seen.
Here or this one?
The story is about a new and very online generation of cop watchers who engage with members of the public and also public servants and mainly police officers, sometimes antagonistic ways, in order to sort of flex their First Amendment freedoms.
You gonna be viral, thank you.
The first organization that was dedicated specifically to cop watching, many people believe, is Berkeley Cop Watch in California. That organization was dedicated to being a witness to police interactions in Berkeley.
Oh, he watches my videos.
Discordant Vol says, because body cam footage tends to get mislabeled. Yeah, that stuff should be taken out of the police's hands altogether. That's nuts to me, that they get to have control over that stuff.
So you'll see a lot of modern cop watchers and some of the most popular auditors and cop watchers on YouTube filming in ways that many people consider intrusive.
Bye, princess.
Am I being detained? Yes, you are. For what crime? I didn't say you committed a crime, but I have the legal right to detain you for further investigation.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't. Hey, get off of me. Get off of me.
And then the conversation with that officer, the back and forth, is sort of the draw of the video and the genre.
Staring at me like you're gonna do something.
One of the more controversial auditors online is Christopher Ruff. He describes himself as a citizen journalist, and his focus is on impoverished communities where he believes gentrification is happening at a rapid rate, and the police are the tip of the spear of that effort.
Sure.
Christopher Ruff goes out at night, often with an entourage of folks, looking for police interactions, and he films them from up close until the police tell him to move back, and that almost always creates a conflict between him and the officers.
So why are we doing it? Because it's obvious that the police do
Oh
not
my
know.
god, it's a Guy Fawkes mask. Discordant Vol says, because body cam footage I just read that one. Sorry, it just moved up.
To do their job correctly. It's outlined in policies, procedures, and law very specifically over the course of over 100 years we've been doing this.
Let's roll.
Christopher and his ilk inspired legislation last year in Arizona that sought to create a concrete distance from which folks could film police.
New state law now makes it illegal to record an officer within 8 feet.
The Reporters Committee for the...
I've seen sovereign citizens in a bunch of states cite that as if it's like a federal thing. No, that's Arizona.
Free Press sued, and the state's attorney declined to defend the constitutionality of that law. So it is not being enforced in Arizona at this time, but there are a number of states that have written up similar legislation, some of which has passed, some of which is in debate right now, that seek to do many of the same things legislators were trying to do in Arizona.
I just told you I went in there to ask for a PIO officer or a public information officer.
I think understanding this new generation of cop watchers and First Amendment auditors gives us a window into how the American public's relationship has changed with policing in the years since George Floyd was killed, and really in the digital age, where we've seen this explosion of video that depicts what a police officer's job is like.
And it's not cops. Thank God. Interesting. Alright, let's see who we're gonna raid today, shall we? Alright, have a good night, everyone. Love you too, Mr. Blast. I'll see you later. See you tomorrow for Tinfoil Tuesday. And I hope you all have a great night. I'm gonna go put some aloe on my face because it's itchy. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Later.